Here with the best fan.
Curtis Jones, Devin Witherspoon,
Kedra Wright,
Dave Burleson. You're watching NorbFam.
NorbFam. You're watching NorbFam.
Who let the dogs out?
Hey, what's up, everybody? NorbCam coming at you, along with my partner in crime, Kris. Finally getting our Barking Dogs podcast going again. It feels like it's been an eternity, and we have had a break here for various reasons, on the road traveling for some, and just different schedules weren't quite in alignment, but here we are now. So they're not wasting any time, because we got a lot to talk about. It's been a very, very busy time now, especially we're on the cusp of the season just starting to go crazy. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump into it. I'm going to talk about the what we got, training camp coming up on Saturday. What's up, Kris? We've got new ownership we haven't talked about. We haven't really put our final thoughts on the whole World Cup and everything like that. So much going on, and it's about to get crazy. Mariners doing Mariners type stuff. And yeah, we'll just kind of take it from there. But Kris, it's good to see you, man. How's everything been?
Oh, everything's been good. It's been great. The weather's beautiful. Can't. I know people are complaining about how hot it is, but I mean, I'll take beautiful. I'll take beautiful and hot.
Yeah, it was pretty hot yesterday. It was like in the 90s. It was a weird hot day yesterday, but things are a little more normal to a Seattle type of summer right now. So I ain't complaining, because we don't get this very often.
2 days ago was rough. That was the rough one. 2 days ago down here, it was like stepping outside. I felt like I was back in Vegas. Where it didn't matter the time of day. It's just that sudden heat that hits you in the face.
All right.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, no, for sure. But then when you hear about what's going on in the rest of the country, man, between tornadoes, flooding, extreme heat, wildfire smoke, we've actually got it pretty lucky up here in Washington.
We're lucky.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to some of the people who tuned in. We got AD tuned in. We've got Andrew A. from Georgia. We've got 12th Man Off Grid AK, I don't know, from Alaska. Is that what it is? Hey, Norb just watched the Legion of Boom reruns. The nostalgia of it all. Yeah, official AD says it's freaking hot in Yakima right now. Yeah, it is that time of the year. I mean, it is mid-July, August. Yeah, for sure. 12th Man Off the Grid. Hopefully I get some rain down there pretty soon. We had a little trickle of rain yesterday. Just a little a little spattering of it the other day or something. But
yeah, yesterday it rained here too, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. So I know we got I show UE 67. We closer to September 9th. Yes, first game of the season. It feels like it's gone by fast. Yeah, it does go by fast. When you're the world champs, you have the shortest season of the entire NFL. So we've been spoiled that we had an extended season that went all the way into February. So, we didn't have to wait as long as some of these teams that were pretty much out of it by December, So we're pretty fortunate. So, well, let's catch up on all the stuff that we have not had a chance to talk about. And where do you want to start, Kris? You want to start with a little wrap up on just the final thoughts on the World Cup and what it did for the city of Seattle? Because you and I both had a chance to go down there. You went there on the first game when USA took on Australia, and I got a chance to help actually volunteer with the parade, with the march downtown on that final game with USA before the cup wrapped up. But I thought it was great. The number of people down there, downtown on the waterfront, it was insane. But I thought it was a great great promotion for our city. I thought Seattle came out of this looking pretty damn good. What do you think? We're having a little bit of internet connectivity issues, guys. So there is some delay going on between Kris and I. We were working on it before the show started. It was like, great, internet, really? You're going to do that to me? Okay, Kris, I think we're locked back in. There we go. Or maybe not.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I think so. I saw your video and it was amazing. How am I so pause or what's going on? I'm good.
Well, your face is frozen. You were kind of audible for a spell there, but you're like frozen with your eyes closed right now. So, oh man, not the greatest connectivity going on at the moment. And there you are. Now you're kind of back, but it's been kind of now it looks like you just ate something really bad and nasty, and now your face is frozen on that. So, man, of all the days, we're trying to get this thing going again, and the internet's not cooperating. There he is for the moment as he's laughing. Okay, you're animated again, so.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know. You're frozen. You're good for like 5 seconds, then you freeze, and then I can't hear the rest of it. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Did you try doing a restart on your side right before the show? Did you have a chance to try to restart your end?
Yeah, I exited out. I exited out and came back in.
I'm freezing too.
Link.
Oh well, that's just great.
Is it because it's an link that you sent me in March?
Because what? Man,
I said now we're both frozen. I saw.
This is not.
Awesome.
This is like it's never been this bad. What's going on? What's going on here? Rams people trying to hijack this, or what's going on? I don't get it. Shout out to Lisa Lippert. Let's go Hawks. Thanks for tuning in from Facebook.
Got new ownership. This never would have happened under Joe.
Yeah.
Darn it.
I'm not sure what we can do here. I mean, I did a full computer restart before the show started, and I'm not sure why would we both be having freezing issues? That's kind of odd. But he sounds like a dying droid right now. Right. This is 80. Great. That's not fun. Or maybe it's Chrysostom that's trying to hack your live stream. That's right.
I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about.
I know. I know. It's
I heard your voice, but I didn't see your face.
Yeah, it's a dying droid for sure right now. What to do when you're in the middle of live video and your connection to both sides is not good? Poor stream. No, you are not freezing, Norb. You are loud and clear, says 12th man off the grid. Oh, so 12th man off the grid says I'm not freezing. And that it's, maybe it's you, Kris? I don't know. You want to try doing, let's try this. Why don't you do a full shutdown? Just log out for a second. Like just shut down completely and start from scratch. Take 2 minutes to just go. I think it'd be worth the try to see if it improves.
Okay.
And just see what happens. Otherwise, this ain't not gonna work. But all right, Kris is off for a second. We'll see what happens. Hey, I was gonna tell you guys. This time of the year, it's always fun because training camp's kicking in. But if you're from the Seattle area, you may be familiar with the very annual tradition of Seafair. Seafair is always something we look forward to when August comes around. And this weekend is kind of a kickoff for Seafair. Seafair is where we have the hydroplane races and the Blue Angels come, and it's really awesome, especially when they fly over during training camp. But this Saturday is what they call the Torchlight Parade. It's the parade that starts at basically about the Space Needle and goes through downtown, and it's an annual tradition. And I've watched it on TV, I've gone to it, and but I get to actually be in the parade on Saturday. I'm going to be repping the Seahawks with my Filipino community, the best of both worlds, as part of the Torchlight Parade. So if you guys are local and you're able to tune in, or you might be able to tune in on the local channels somewhere on, remotely. But I think usually Cairo 7 picks up the Torchlight Parade in the past. They have, so I will be in it. I will be in the parade. So look for me if you're watching the parade either in person or watching it on TV. We'll make an appearance. So going to training camp in the afternoon first, and then straight from training camp heading downtown to jump into the parade. It's gonna be a madhouse day on Saturday because the parade starts in the late afternoon, early evening, and I have to go straight from training camp, which wraps up at 3, and then jump into that. All right, Kris is back. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we have better connection. Kris?
Well, you sound better. I tried this through my phone. I said it.
Okay, right now I can see you and hear you. You seem very steady. So maybe we'll just go with this.
I'm completely restarting my entire computer is what I'm doing right now. So I'll just
you're going off of your phone completely right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, well right now it's good. Right now it's good. Yeah. So
I can't see the chat, but here we are. We're here.
Okay, all right. TR Pierce 3497. Good evening, 12s. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook. Oh no, that's on YouTube. Your YouTube side. Okay. All right. Well, let's go back to the question that we just had. While you were getting set, I was talking about I'm going to be in the Torchlight Parade on Saturday, bro. I don't know if you've ever come to watch the Torchlight Parade in downtown, but it starts with the Space Needle. It's a kickoff parade to kick off Seafair for every summer. So I get to be in it repping Seahawks and my Filipino community. So it'll be a fun weekend. So, but anyway, before going to that, your thoughts on the World Cup that was. Seattle was one of the host cities. You and I both had a chance to go down there. How'd you feel the whole event went?
I thought the event was awesome. I thought we represented well. We were praised worldwide. I thought we were by far the best city. I had a blast down there. I got to be interviewed. I think for you were like on everything as well. So I think that was great for you. Like I saw your pictures of the water. You got to go down the waterfront. That's awesome. So I think the World Cup was a great representation of our city and just kind of shows you like how good we can be, So that's how that goes.
It's interesting because I had a lot of concerns. Like, are we going to pull this thing off? Are we going to have a bunch of weird hitches and bad things happen and infrastructure problems and people not being able to get through and all this? And yet didn't hear one negative thing about it. Everybody just talked about how great the experience was. And I thought the stadium looked really good. All the stuff that they did to bring in the natural grass. I mean, the stadium just looked top notch. And it's pretty cool for, a stadium that is now 24 years old. 24 years old is Lumen Field. And yet I thought it held up in a way where it didn't look like it was, like it was out of date or something. I thought it looked spectacular. So I didn't go to any of the games myself. I watched it, a little bit from the watch parties from the waterfront. And then, but I thought it was a great promo for the city. We're getting the walking tour of your place, huh, Kris?
Well, I figured if I'm going to be on my phone, instead of being in my hot spot, I'm just going to be on my deck and just enjoy the weather.
Yeah, why not? Change the view. I like it. It's kind of cool. So, well, let's talk. This is a good transition since we're talking about the stadium and everything. Talking about now the new owners. You and I haven't talked about that since the new owners were announced. What was your reaction? Because, man, when I found out, I was kind of busy. I had an event that I was attending, so I was starting to get these messages on my phone. Seahawks were sold. So I had to kind of catch up with it because I wasn't tuned in. How did you find out? What were you doing when the announcement came down?
So I was also kind of in a frantic. So I never worked Saturdays, but I actually worked this Saturday. So I happened to be on break, and the Mariners just lost. So I'm ready to write my recap of the Mariners. I get done with that, and then I just see then you're catching up through your phone, and they literally just sold. And I'm like, okay. So I'm playing catch up on this one. Ironically, this was an owner that I hadn't really yet. So I was kind of taken aback. At first, when I heard he was a minority owner of the 49ers, naturally I was kind of like, oh, God, great. But then I dug into him more, and I like what I've, seen so far. So, that's how I liked it. So I think of the owner options, I thought it was the best one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought the fact that you had to Google them to find out who the heck they were, I think that's actually a good sign, because if it had been someone of a massively popular personality that probably had with it the polarizing opinions of people who love them and people who hate them, that right away just brings so much attention to the owner of the team, which is what you don't want. You don't want a Jerry Jones. You don't want, the focus to be on the owner. You want it to be like how it's been. Nobody really talks about the owner in Seattle. They just talk about, the team, and the owner kind of shows up every once in a while, but they're pretty much behind the scenes. And it seems like that's kind of the way they run their ship over there. So far I feel pretty good about it. $9.6 billion. That's crazy. Most expensive NFL franchise, at least purchased at this point. Blew away the Washington Commanders price. That was like half of that when they ownership took over there. That is the Commanders, and we're talking about the Seahawks coming off of a Super Bowl win. So the Allen estate probably did as good as you can in terms of buying low and selling high. I mean, that is amazing. But all that money will go to charity. So that's that's the good part about all that.
Yeah, they said they bought the franchise for $197 million, and to get $9.6 billion.
Pretty good return.
The good ROI on the investment.
Yeah. And yet it goes to charity. So the ROI multiplied wasn't for the purpose of making rich people richer. It's going to go to charity. We don't know what those charities are, but if that is the case, it's nice to think that all that money being made is going to a good cause. Hey, I wanted to shout out Joe SA671 from the Philippines. Always appreciate you tuning in, Joe. And of course, we got MVP, NorbFam MVP, Lori Cross, who's driving on her way back, and she said, Kris, thanks for the message. And I tagged you. Lori, I tag you in practically every video that I post and everything. So I sent an invite to this as well. Hope you got it.
Hey, Norb, with a Lori Cross, though, when you're the Seahawk of the year, she wants a personal invite, not just me. Hey.
That's true. That's true. Good point. Good point.
You could get away with tagging them. But the Seahawk of the year, you got to DM them.
Yeah, you're earning brownie points right now, bro. Well, appreciate you, Lori. Thank you for doing your best effort to tune in. So are you? The initial response by so many people were, "Oh, that's it. The team's getting sold." Or not team sold. The team is being moved. It's goodbye, Seahawks. And I think there's a lot of PTSD from the Bearing days to the Sonics leaving, and people are just kind of. You mentioned a new owner and they just kind of freak out. But I've been trying to reassure people that this is not going to be an issue. Agreed, Kris?
I watched your video. I thought, by the way, I like what you're doing with your channel, with your educational videos, with the practice and then the ownership one. They're like these 8 little 9-minute videos where you're kind of breaking them down step by step. You're almost like a teacher. You're because you're a Star Wars guy. You're like Yoda. You're educating the masses. But you're not doing it in a condescending way. You're just
new owners we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks. I've been trying to do something new because I finally had some time. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this right. I want to think this out and really kind of organize my thoughts, not just spitball.
But yeah, I agree with you. First of all, they can't move until 2031. I think these owners, they're both 71. I'm not worried about them moving. The weird part is we're probably going to have to get to know the son, because I think he's 30. I don't know anything about him. I think all I know is he's in his early 30s. He's kind of like the heir to the throne. So odds are he's going to be the last owner of your lifetime and my lifetime. If he's in his 30s, you would assume. So I don't see the team. Why would you move when, first of all, you have the pieces in place, you have a rabid fan base, and this is what I always bring up to people, and this is before I even met him, and now we're on the same page of this. It's look at a map. Look at a map. And I'm referencing Mark Collins. And I used to say that before I even met him. But again, it's the old study. When people say the Seahawks are going to move, I'm like, I think he failed geography class, is what I tell people.
Yeah. Yeah, and not to mention, even if he did want to move the team, they have to get 75% approval by all the rest of the owners. I broke it down in my video. There's a lot of things that tell us why they can't just go, I'm going to move them. Here we go. There's a lot of things stopping that. But it just also doesn't make any sense because of the fact that this is the cornerstone of the North Puget Sound, northwest part of the states. This is where the fan base of this area represents.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And
So...
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the team's moving. From everything I've read about these owners, they sound like they're going to be very much like Jody Allen. They're going to be kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know what I'm saying? They don't really actually have to do anything. You have the head coach. You have your general manager. I think you have your quarterback. You've already locked up JSN. So I think you're for the most part, you're on cruise control.
It's about the easiest handoff you could have in an ownership sale, because this has never happened before where a team that won the Super Bowl gets sold the following season. And it's only because the unfortunate passing of Paul Allen that this had to happen this way. But normally an owner comes in because things are a mess, right? There's problems. Either the owner's been a terrible person and, he's getting run out of town, or the team is just struggling and financially in trouble and it's got no stadium. And so somebody has to come in there and revitalize things. But like you said, they've got everything going for them. They got a coach, a GM who's lockstep. They got a superstar, Super Bowl talented roster. They don't really need to do much except just let the team be, and then just keep making it a place where the 12s can come and have a great time. So the template's really been set. So I would think that from an ownership standpoint, yeah, it's like they don't have to do much. It's not like it's broken. They don't have to fix anything. So I feel really good.
Have to do is, and this is we're talking down the road, probably in 10 or 15 years, they'll probably have to get a new stadium, but we're talking 10 or 15 years, that's, right. Because this stadium, it's a little bit older than most NFL stadiums, but it was still, you saw the atmosphere in the World Cup. You saw it's still pretty modern. It's not it's outdated. Seattle did a great job with both the Mariners and the Seahawks. Both their stadiums 25 years later are still pretty good, I would say.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was kind of diving deep. I have an upcoming video similar to the ones you just saw about training camp and the new owners. And I actually want to broach the subject about what the state and the city and the county needs to do in order to be prepared for that 10 to 15 years from now when that question comes up where the owner says, we need to get a new stadium or we need to massively renovate it, because it is going to happen. And at some point, Lumen Field, which will probably not be called Lumen Field in 10 or 15 years, it'll probably have a new sponsor, but it's going to be something. There's going to be something where, it's just not meeting the new, level of stadium requirements that everybody else is. We need to catch up and we need to keep up with the Joneses, right? Literally the Joneses. But there's things that some cities are doing right, and there's some things that cities and states did not do right. You look at the failed moves cities and their teams. You look at Oakland, the Raiders going to Vegas. And you look at the Chargers going to L.A. And then now you've got the Bears leaving Chicago to go into Indiana for a new stadium. You got Kansas City leaving Missouri to go to Kansas City, Kansas. So it's still Kansas City, but they are leaving that part of the world. But then you got other teams who are doing it right, like Buffalo. They just got a new stadium. They're opening it this year. Buffalo Bills right next door. You got Tennessee getting a new stadium, and there's one more, Jacksonville. Jacksonville's in line for a new stadium.
That one's the Jacksonville one surprised me because they were by far and away the number one pick for the franchise I was going to move for the last, it feels 15 years now. So good for that. To your point, I am curious about that because I don't think the team's going to move. Because keep in mind, when people say the Bears moved to Indiana, it makes it seem like it's a huge move. It's just a technicality. They're still kind of in that area. It's just where the map of the state goes. Kind of I live here in Southwest Washington. Portland, Oregon is across the river from us. So it's if the Blazers were to move to Washington, but they're in Vancouver, they're still in the area. I want to preference that. I do think that if I could see the Seahawks moving not from Seattle, but maybe to a Bellevue or somewhere over there where there's a lot of land, especially by land, because you'll have the light rail set up over there entirely. I can maybe see that. because the city of Seattle they're pretty difficult. I was just talking to a friend about that, who was behind the scenes with the Sonics, and he said that he thought that Chris Hansen would have been better off if he had just tried to have the Sonics be in Renton, or maybe even Tacoma, because Seattle is so difficult. So 10, 15 years from now, I mean, I could see them maybe moving to like a Renton or Bellevue, which would suck, because I think their location's perfect far as a fan. We always, if you look at these stadium videos, the Mariners and the Seahawks always rank number one in accessibility, because we're the only stadium where the light rail just dumps you right there. Like, it's
right.
There's no, like, you have to, like, where do I walk, where do I go? It's just, it dumps you right there at the stadium. So that's what we need to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're talking about, the scenario where potentially the team moves, but not out of the state, not even out of Puget Sound, but just moves to potentially another city across the Sound or whatever. Don't want it to, because, I feel like Seattle Seahawks should stay in Seattle. But, that's why I think if some forward planning by the state, they can start kind of planning ahead for it, so that when the time does come, it won't be this sort of, oh my gosh, we have to do what? They'll already be kind of ready for it. But and we'll see. We got some time. So the main point is everybody just relax. The Seahawks aren't going anywhere. Definitely not for the next 5 years.
No question, guys.
Yeah. But it doesn't hurt to start planning, because it's going to cost at least $3 or $4 billion when that time comes, if a new stadium is coming. Right now, that's about the going rate for a new stadium. It's about $2 billion. That's what the Bills paid. One more note about the stadium thing before we move on. The Buffalo Bills, kind of the funny thing there is that all these other stadiums, like Chicago, the Bears new stadium, the Kansas City new stadium, they're all going to dome stadiums, which makes sense, right? Because they're cold weather and all that stuff, trying to keep up with the whole being able to have events there all year round. But the Buffalo Bills, the team that probably gets the most snow more than anybody, they built a $2 billion plus open air stadium. Now they got more coverage over the seats, so there's going to be less of the fans having to come in and shovel snow out of the seats, and they have that now radiant heating on the field, so that would probably minimize the amount of snow coverage that builds up. But it's still open, so if they're coming down with a blizzard with a foot 2 feet of snow, it's still going to be on the field. I don't think it can melt as fast as it does when they get some of those blizzards. But kind of surprising, considering that it's probably the place that gets the most snow in all of the country during football season. But maybe that's what they wanted. I just thought maybe that's kind of the mystique of Buffalo. Because
I think they wanted that because it's an advantage. If you're like, think about it. Minnesota in the 70s, when they're outdoors, they went to 4 Super Bowls. Since they've been in a dome, they haven't been to a Super Bowl since. And think about that one year the Blair Walsh miss. Like, we were a way better team than Minnesota, but because of the elements, it was an uncomfortable, close game that, quite frankly, we should have lost, if you want to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, like, I hate that all these teams are going to the same generic dome stadium, and it's just like, there's just, like, no, like, I don't like it. I'm glad that Buffalo did that.
Yeah. And of course, it's easy to say when we don't live there and we don't have to deal with the snow, but I like it too. And it's actually sad because Kansas City is one of those places you usually get snow games. Chicago, you're going to get cold weather, windy snow games. We're going to lose that now. It's going to get that artificial, indoor environment like the Rams have and all that now. And I do. I like the fact that at Lumen Field we have the outdoor weather elements, that there's sometimes rain, there's sometimes wind. I think that's what's cool about football, is you get that aspect of it. It'll be interesting if they consider with the new owners, would they possibly lean to, we've already shown we can put a natural grass field in there, at least temporarily. Long term, that's a whole other question. But, I know the players would want it to be natural grass, and I wouldn't be against it if they can make it work.
I don't think that's up to us, though. Isn't it up to the NFL?
It's definitely not up to us. You and I, Chris, have no say in the matter. But I don't know how the owners and the NFL, who decides that. That's a good question. Whether that's something that's mandated or if they even have a choice.
Yeah, all the players want to do it, but nobody wants to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, 12 man of Grid AK. I love snowy Seahawk football. Yeah, we've had a handful of snow games here in Seattle. Not a lot, but most recently, I remember when Jimmy Graham was with the Bears, he came here on a snowy, treacherous drive up to Lumen Field, and we lost. I remember we lost. It was like one of the last games of the year. We lost to the Chicago Bears in like a 2-point conversion. It was a bad game. But it was cool to see it in the snow. It was just a bad game.
I remember that game. I remember Jermaine Ifedi, former Seahawk, just pain in the butt, had a bad false start, so we're all freaking out, and then Graham caught the touchdown that led to the tying touchdown and 2-point conversion. So that was that. And then I remember DK had a bad drop, I want to say. I remember like Russ had him for a touchdown, and there was like nobody was around him, and it was like a bad drop. It's just like, God dang it. And then like then we have to drop. Yeah, that was
around 2000. Year. Was it 22? I'm saying around 20.
This was Russ's last. Well, no, Russ's last year. Russ was the quarterback.
21 then.
Yeah, it was actually Russ's second to last home game, third to last overall game.
Yeah, the 21. Yep, I remember that was a brutal ending to and not a good year. Not a good year.
No, that was not a fun year.
Yeah, that was that transition. Like, oh boy, something's got to change, and they did change after that. All right, well let's transition. Let's talk now. This we're kind of reminiscing in the past. We got to go forward now. So we got training camp on Saturday.
Yeah.
We got Hard Knocks in town covering all that. Hard Knocks is going to, for those of you who aren't going to go to training camp and your only way of watching it's going to be Hard Knocks, you better get your HBO or HBO Max subscriptions going because it's going to start August 4th. They moved it up a week because it was going to be the 11th, and they moved it up to the 4th now. So it's a week earlier than originally planned. So that's not too far from now. So, tell me about your thoughts on training camp as far as what you're most, I guess, looking forward to seeing in the competition, preseason. Preseason is not fun to watch a game that doesn't mean anything, but it's fun to watch the competition of those positions that these guys are fighting their balls off to try to land a spot. What are you most interested in as far as the competition on the field for the Seahawks come training camp?
Well, obviously, I think for everybody, I would say number one is Jadarian Price. Seeing how he looks. Is he going to be the starter? Is he going to be split carries with Helani? Is he just going to be pure RB2 to start the year? So I think that one. Another thing for me, because we're talking preseason now, so this guy doesn't really matter for the team, but for preseason he will. Jalen Milroe is Jalen Milroe, his development, is he going to be, did he take a step forward? Is he a guy that this team can maybe be your backup quarterback in 2027, Is this a guy that someday could be your starting quarterback? Or is this a guy that you might just have to say you cut bait? Because I saw another thing. They said, whereas if Milroe has a bad preseason, the Seahawks might just admit that was a bad third-round pick, and they might just cut him and just take the roster spot. So this is a big, big preseason and camp for Jalen Milroe. As far as his trajectory, he can if he has a great one, who knows? He might be your starting quarterback a year or two from now. If he struggles and kind of, craps the bed, he's going to be out of the job. So I think he has. Well,
you kind of want to hope for it because I feel like it's a battle for the backup position because obviously Sam Darnold is QB1 and Drew Lock right now is QB2, but. It was never a conversation. Of course, there will be conversations should something happen, knock on wood, to Sam Darnold. But Jalen Milroe, if he does prove to be, a viable QB option, do they still keep him on the roster for the near future? Or could he be a possible position that they could work a trade or something if they don't feel like they need to keep him? So no matter what, you want to have 3 very capable backup or quarterbacks on the squad because it only helps you both in case of emergency, but also in that scenario if they want to, if they're going to keep rolling with Drew Lock and they've got an extra guy to spare that he would be just languishing on the bench with nowhere to go if it doesn't seem like he's got a spot coming up anytime soon. So it'll be a good problem to have if he can show up and, definitely do something. It's funny. We had so much anticipation. Everybody who I talked to during training camp was all excited. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what Jalen Milroe does this year. Ooh, he might be the guy fighting for the starting spot. And man, that ended real quick. I want to say, wasn't it the Tampa Bay game where he had gave up that fumble? And after that, we never saw him touch the football again. That was it. They're like, nope, you're done, kid. So feel bad for him because it was weird how they used him too. They would just kind of throw him in randomly like, oh, okay, let's get that Jalen kid in. Let's give him a carry with no rhyme or reason. It just seemed like a random, like, let's just try it right now. And then it was never anything really schemed out. It was kind of obvious he was going to run the ball. They could have done a little bit better with their use of him.
I remember it went for like a -1. And it was like 1
because they all saw it coming. There was no surprise to it. It was like do RPO or something.
Then they did the option pitch with him, and that's where we fumbled. Then Tampa scored, and it was a disaster. Yeah, but, yeah.
If not for that fumble, who knows? We might have won that game. Anyway, that's why it didn't go so well. Hey, my buddy Patrick Svoboda is watching. Thanks, Pat. Pat is my longtime season ticket holder buddy since 1996. Actually, Pat's the one who actually kind of encouraged me to, like, hey, Norm, let's get tickets. So he actually got the ball rolling. But he will be with me at training camp this Saturday. He hasn't been to one in a while, so I'm excited to be soaking in the sun and watching the boys out there. So we'll be doing our analysis of these things we're talking about. And he says he's looking forward to this right guard competition. Is there a competition, though? Because it seems like
I think there is.
It seems like the outside view is that the fans do nothing but complain about Anthony Bradford. But then you hear from the inside that the coaching staff and the offensive line coach loves Anthony Bradford. And he actually did play pretty well in the Super Bowl. I can't say that there was maybe one play I remember saying right on the spot. I said, "Wow, Anthony Bradford's having a pretty good game," and immediately he gives up a sack, or I can't remember exactly what. I think he gave up something where a guy went through and got penetration, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like one of those other sort of like him running around with this, like a chicken with his head cut off. But what do you think? Do you think this? The good part about it is even if there isn't much of a competition, what that means is we have continuity. The offensive line from 2025 is basically carrying over to 2026. Everybody is returning, from our right tackles to our awesome Gray Zabel at left guard, and even Sundell at the center. I mean, it's as solid. When's the last time we had an offensive line that completely just carried over with continuity like this? It feels like it has not really happened much, so that's a good thing.
Maybe you have to go back to not even the Super Bowl year in 2005 because Locklear was new. I'd have to really rack my brain on that one, man. But not only that, Norm, I'll raise you one step further. We return every starting offensive lineman, every backup offensive lineman, and every practice squad offensive lineman, and your offensive line coach. So talk about continuity. That's what I'm actually low-key I'm most excited about because we all know offensive lines, they're better when they play together. And I think in this situation, I think we're just going to be better off with him. And I actually think Bo Stevens is going to compete with Anthony Bradford. I don't think he's going to beat out Anthony Bradford, but I think the coaches, they know Anthony Bradford. They know he does better when someone's like on his butt. Because remember last year, there's a few times last year when Bradford was struggling and the coaches announced, like we hear the rumblings, like, if Bradford has a bad game this week, they're gonna have Oluwatimi be the center, Sundell's gonna be the guard. And then like that week could be the PFF grades would come out and it's like Bradford's the highest ranked offensive lineman. Like, okay, Bradford's gonna stay. And then it'd be like 5 weeks later, it's just like Bradford has a bad week this week. I think he's done. And then he'd have like his best game of the year. So
kind of stepped it up.
I think he's a guy that he needs to be poked,
He needs to be he needs to be kind of looking behind him and make sure there's not that guy coming up and take his spot. So yeah, whatever motivates, right?
Well, also for Bradford too, this is his last year going into free agency. So it's like, we've seen it before in football when guys go into free agency. They
playing for a contract.
Get better. They take like Kenneth Walker. All of a sudden he's healthy all year. It's just free agency. Like these guys all of a sudden get better. Now Tariq Woolen on the flip side, he still is like a freaking idiot. So that's why he had to settle for a 1-year deal. But most other mature adults realize I have millions of dollars at stake. I need to get my act together.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny how that works, you know. Oh, it's kind of like have that deadline. All of a sudden, I better clean up my house here. I got to put this on the market. We got to clean up and stage this sucker. So, well, you know, that brings up, you know, one of the rookie. Oh, actually, let me address this question. So, we were talking about Jadarian Price, 12-man off grid AK. What do you think about Jadarian Price? Is he a good replacement for Walker?
yes and no.
He's not the same. He's a different kind of running back. You don't get the same. I don't think you get the same sort of. You know, Walker had this insane, almost Barry Sanders-esque way of lateral moving out of. You know, like there's that play. I think it was in the Super Bowl. Remember the one? Or was it the 49ers? No, he's a 49ers game. 49ers.
Actually,
the play where the linebacker, I think, came right up. He was like a wide open lane to go make the tackle, and then he just makes a little juke move to the left and leaves him swinging for air. I think that was a 49er game. Anyway,
like
point
49ers.
being.
But I think, you know what's weird? I think his best run was the Rams game when we had 3rd and goal on the 3 and they gave it to him, and it's like a stretch play, and he was toast for a loss of 1, and he just like outran the corner. And as he's running, I think in my mind, okay, it's probably going to be 4th and 1, and it's just whoa, he's got
the edge.
Remember, that was our opening drive. He got the edge, and that's the kind of stuff Jadarian Price, or any running back for that matter, ain't going to be able to do. But Jadarian Price is going to be more. He's bigger though, so like he does have explosive ability. So he's kind of, I don't want to say like Marshawn like.
He's a kick returner. So
he does.
You gotta be pretty quick to do it. And I'm not necessarily again the juke, the left and right lateral movement, but he's got
one
breakaway
cut.
speed.
Yeah, he's got a one. Like if he's got a one cut and there's a hole, he can house it. You know. I would say
Charbonnet's he's kind of like more similar to Charbonnet than I would say similar
he's
to
a faster
Kenai.
version of Charbonnet. I was just about ready to say that. Like Charbonnet's like powerful, and Charbonnet's not like a slug by any means, but like he's not a guy who can house one for the most part, whereas Price can. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to be nervous about Price, so I'm going to point out this stat for everybody. Bijan Robinson was taken in the top 10 in the first round by the Falcons. He didn't get double-digit carries until week 9. Typically, running backs in the first round in the NFL, it takes them about half a year to get going. So, like, I'm already seeing a lot of hand-wringing, like, oh, my God, we wasted a first-round pick, and this guy can't even beat out George Holani. What is going on here? It's like, I think by the end of the year, he'll definitely be the starter, but don't be surprised the first couple games, Holani's getting more carries. In fact, I actually expect Holani to get more carries at the start of the season. But I do think by the end of the year, Jadarian Price will be RB1. But there is going to be a learning curve, I think.
Well, I think that's going to be fun to watch during camp as well as during preseason because, you know, we're in a normal year where you have your RB1s locked in. He won't even play. We're going to see a lot of guys playing who could potentially might be the RB1, you know, playing in a preseason because I don't think it's been etched in stone yet. So that's actually kind of cool, the fact that we're going to see a lot of these guys. Hopefully, like you said, Holani, we see Price, we see that cat we picked up from the ex-Packer. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him. I totally spaced on him. Oh,
yeah,
God.
He's another guy. We have a lot of the same types of guys. Big dudes, power, mostly power, but not really speed, jitterbug type guys.
He's really slow. He's more power. Yeah.
Yeah. So might be a good 4th and 1 kind of guy or something, you know. But then you got Kenny McIntosh. I think he's over his injury, right? Or is he still hurt?
No, they put him on the PUP list.
Is he on the PUP? God dang, that guy. He's just just unfortunate luck, that dude. Because I really want to see what he can do. And every time he gets his chance, he gets hurt, which is unfortunately, he's starting to get that CJ Procise disease. There's just some guys who get that, man, right? Like, what's his name? Who was that dude we picked up and he got hurt in one game and he never really was a receiver, like 3 years ago. You know what I'm talking about? Had a lot of promise and then he gets hurt. He had a concussion and could never come back. And then he finally comes back, gets hurt right away. Ugh.
Josh Gordon?
No. He's a rookie. Gosh, I can't. Anyway, someone out there someone in the chat will remember.
Horton last year?
Who?
Corey Horton?
No. This is like 3 years ago. We let him go already, like 2 years ago.
And he was a
Can't
rookie.
remember can't remember freaking dude's name? Anyway, not important. But my point being is that there's some guys who just seem to never get out of the, Rashad Penny, same thing, right? The guy he so flashes and then bam, just couldn't stay on the field. So, yeah, we'll see. Hawk Libre in the house, watching on Facebook.
Well, hey, speaking of pup list, do you want to talk about the big guy who made the headlines on the pup list?
Yeah.
Ike Minori. Let's transition that.
Yeah.
Well,
I've heard some rumblings that it's not like a major issue. It's more of like they want to rest his foot because he kind of had an issue with that post Super Bowl. And so I'm hoping real bad that that's just a precautionary thing. And so, there it is. I knew somebody would say it. D. Eskridge.
Oh, yeah.
Austin Michael 5-1. D. Eskridge, man. Dude was made of glass. Sad because he looked like he had promise and he just could not.
Dude, you know what's weird about him?
D. Eskridge.
2 years ago, Eskridge, remember, he housed a punt for a touchdown in preseason, and then we cut him, and then our punt returners and kick returners were disasters. That was McDonald's first year, and I was just like, we probably could have used Eskridge, actually.
Yeah. But he might have been on the sideline anyway, so, we had a question from Brenda Rossler Hansen. She asked it earlier, too. She said, who do you think's going to be cut? Because hoping not number 52, Patrick O'Connell, because he's from my hometown and helping Heart Wheels. So
he's really good on special teams. So I don't think he's obviously secure. Not this matters, but this is going to sound dumb, but he was at the World Cup with Coach McDonald. I would, unless he really takes a step backwards, I don't see how he gets cut. Do you? I don't see it.
Again, there's a lot of guys who you just don't really know their names that big because they are mostly special teams dudes. And that's okay. A lot of guys make a living just being great special teams players.
Remember him? That guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. Wasn't he a Harvard dude? He was.
Harvard.
I think it was Harvard. Yeah,
Yep.
He was a step slow to be like the starting guy.
No.
When he had to go in there and actually play as a starter, he was not quite up to speed, but he was great on special teams and a good leader. So, yeah, you know what I'm excited about? I'm really looking forward to seeing Bud Clark, man. Bud Clark, because we lost
Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. We all know that. And Bud Clark comes in and, this draft, they went right down the list. Who did we lose? Okay, let's get a running back. Oh, yeah, we lost a safety. Let's get a safety. I mean, it was like, oh, wow, this makes too much sense. But I'm really excited to see him. How about you?
Good competition. Bud Clark, and I think Okada will be the starter, but I think Bud Clark's going to be nipping on his tail. And that'll be a fun one as well.
Yeah, and fun to see what he can do when they start, especially during scrimmages. Have you ever been to training camp, Chris?
So I've been there twice. So I have a fun story on both. So I went in 2011, and this was the year we were supposed to be the worst team in the NFL. Pete Carroll's second year, and it was awesome because guess what? I got to buy training camp tickets literally the night before. This is 2011. And I got to show up there, and it was awesome. I got to meet and greet a lot of the players. I got Earl Thomas's autograph. And I remember because I'm watching the camp, and I'm like, there's no way this team's going to be the worst team in football. Now, I remember watching the quarterbacks, Tavares Jackson, God rest his soul, and Charlie Whitehurst. They weren't good that day. And I'm like, okay, our quarterbacks are going to be an issue. We're not going to make playoffs. But I was like, I remember the way our defense was scrapping. I remember Tom Capel was kind of coaching up that offensive line. I'm like, this team's going to be scrappy this year. So then fast forward 4 years, I go to training camp in 2015. We came off of 2 straight Super Bowls. So I'm having to buy tickets a month in advance. It is freaking packed. It's like a zoo. This is when Russell first started dating Sierra. So you had Sierra was there. Her paparazzi's there. It is just like, you couldn't get, I've only been to training camp twice, and you probably couldn't get 2 more different, experiences at training camp in my 2 experiences. It was like, I was like, is this the same place I was? It was just, and, I loved it. It was fan, but it wasn't because there was just so many people, and there's just, and the Sierra factor, because he had so many paparazzi. you didn't really get a chance to talk to the players. I did get J.R. Sweezy and Justin Britt's autograph though, so that was cool. But yeah, that was my 2 experiences with training camp. And I got a feeling to those out there, the 2015 is going to be like this year. Like, if you haven't bought your training camp tickets yet, you might be SOL. I don't know. Like,
Well, when I did my video about it a couple of days ago, at least at the time, the only one that was sold out was this Saturday. And then somebody sent me a comment and said, "Oh, there's another date that's been sold out." So I think there's still some available. You just have to go to the Seahawks.com website and check. It's about a little over $15 for the transportation voucher, basically, to go. But yeah, if you can go, it's a great opportunity just to soak it in and just be around Seahawks fans and watch kind of casual, no pressure kind of thing. It's fun. So. Yeah, I had an opportunity. Speaking of training camp stories, so back when Mama Blue was still alive, back in I want to say 2016 or 17, but Mark and I were with her, and along with Cannonball, another Seahawks very recognizable super fan, and we were with her, and she really wanted to go on the field and meet the guys, but at first the security wouldn't let her go in. They said, "Oh, really? Only family only." So Mama Blue not taking no for an answer. We walked around, and I think at the time we talked to the president. I forgot what his name. Not Chuck Arnold, but another guy. And she kind of, put a very persuasive argument, like, "Come on, you got to get me on that field. I'm an old lady. I don't know how many more years I got of this." So she managed to do it. So the 4 of us walked out on the field. We met Russ, took pictures with him. This so LOB was still around, so it wasn't that long ago, or after. The LOB was still there. The Chancellor was still there. Sherman. Jermaine Curse. We just went around and just met all these guys, and it was surreal, man. But it was because we had Mama Blue, the queen, the original super fan, was our escort basically. And she's so much fun. She's such a fun, feisty woman, or was when she was with us. So yeah, that was a treat, because normally we can't go on the field. You got to be someone. You got to know somebody or be related to be able to get out there. So that's what it is. Lori said it's August 1st. That's the other sold out date. So basically this Saturday, the 25th, is sold out, and August 1st is sold out. But there are other dates, so it's not too late. So I like your fit, man, by the way. The hat and the action green shirt, looking good, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
I got the matching shirt to match your hat right now.
There we go.
Parallel universes right here.
We don't plan this stuff, guys. We're just in tune with each other. I swear.
We're not planning our outfits. It's not quite that level, but
we don't even plan our podcasts. We don't even plan when we have internet. We just wing it.
Yeah, I'm glad you pivoted and did the phone thing. This is working great, and we get to see a little view outside.
This might be a permanent thing, actually. I'm kind of digging.
Yeah, maybe just that way you don't have to hold it the whole time. You get a little tripod or something, kick it back with a little margarita and your lawn chair on the table or something. Bring Puma out for a little outdoorsy action on camera. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll definitely. But let's circle back to the Nick Minori thing. So when I first saw he was on the PUP list, I was like, whatever. But then when I saw that he had ankle surgery, I was kind of like, and then they're saying like they hope he's available for week 1. Whenever the team says they hope he's available for week 1, I'm just going to say this right now. I don't think he's playing week 1. But that's always a red flag to me. I don't know. Like, it sucks. Like, because he didn't really play last year in the first 4 games either. So,
Yeah.
And we survived.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. But yeah, it'd be nice to come in fully loaded. But that's not the reality. Lori, you're saying that wasn't 2018, that was 2023. Where are we talking about when we went on the field, the training camp? Because the Mama Blue thing, that was the Russell Wilson LOB era, so I was definitely back a number of years, if that's what you're referring to, Lori. Not to say I trust your fact checking, because you are the bean counter when it comes to your chapter and all that, and for the Seahawkers. So anyway, Hawk Libre says he'll be there on Saturday. I'll look for you, bro. In full mask. It's gonna be hot out there, so you're gonna be sweating inside your outfit on August 4th for Kids Day. So that's cool. Lori, those guys were all there for Seahawks Legend Day at training camp. Oh, okay. But that was a different thing. That was a different thing that we went to. We they were still on the team when we saw them. So, but it's cool that the Legends. That's what's great. The Legends, they keep coming back. You know, these guys who make Seattle their home even after they've retired from the sport and everything. So, yeah. And Lori was there. She thinks maybe 2022. But anyway, yeah. So what else? What other things are we looking at? You know what I'm excited about? You know, we have a couple of guys who basically were gone most of last year, and we get to have them back for this year. Like almost like we're getting two guys, like two new players. You already mentioned Torrey Horton, who had just shot out of a cannon the first few games, and then suddenly was gone the rest of the year. But we get him back. You know, paired with JSN, paired with the Cooper Cup, plus Rashid Shaheed. I mean, man, the idea of those guys running go routes and crossing routes, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be, you know, Sam Darnold's going to be like, man, who do I throw to? So many targets out here. I can't make up my mind. It's going to be a buffet of receivers. Love it.
I think AJ Barner is going to take a step forward. And I'm really excited about Elijah Arroyo. And I was bummed when he got hurt because that guy could stretch the field at the tight end spot. And was that the other guy you're talking about? A guy who's returning from injuries, Elijah Arroyo? Is that who you're thinking of?
Oh no, the other one I was talking about was the one who got his first sack in the Super Bowl, Riley Mills.
Oh yeah, Riley Mills. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see him at all till the Super Bowl. He comes out and basically manhandles the lineman and gets a sack at the same time. We get him. Like, where'd this guy come from? So it's like, again, we get an offensive or defensive lineman that we didn't get to enjoy the pleasure of. And suddenly he's like this new guy on the team who's, you know, got a lot of promise there too. So yeah, we lost a few things, but we're gaining a few things. That's going to be, you know, fun to watch. Anything you're concerned about as far as, you know, because a lot of stuff is being saying the same, right? Quarterbacks, we know. Running backs, we know. Tight ends, we know. Offensive line, solid. D-line, you know, for the most part, returning. We got changes at safety. We talked about that. Cornerback, Woolen left. And well, how you feel about the corner side of things? That and linebacker are probably if I had to be concerned about, like, we don't exactly have like that feeling that, oh, we're totally good here, would be corner and linebacker, mostly depth, because the ones we got starting, especially at linebacker, I'm cool with. But if one of those guys goes down, you know, who do we got behind them? What about you? Do you feel different about those concerns?
Our corners are a little small with Witherspoon and Job. And, you know, your backups, we'll see. And also Spoon, who knows? I mean, I don't think he'll hold out, but, you know, you never know. Because there's rumblings that he's not happy that he hasn't been taken care of yet. I sent you that picture of
there's been thing floating around that he turned down a 3-year $90 million contract, and I don't know how true that is. Sometimes there's a lot of BS stuff floating around out there.
I mean, I tried to look into it, and the only accounts I saw that talked about that, I don't want to say they're clickbait accounts, but yeah, they're like not really reliable accounts. So I'll say
I haven't seen any like legit stuff online that has been discussing that.
I immediately went on Hawk Blogger. I went on Brady Henderson, and I went on Bob Condotta. You know, I went to like.
I like to check Greg Bell. He's one of my favorite guys. I like to follow too.
On his page, and I just I didn't see anything, so I'm kind of like, okay, I don't, you know. Now maybe they posted something since then, you know, because we've been doing this, but as of before this recording, I didn't see any of that. I would say not a concern, but I mean, it's just natural. You have a new offensive coordinator, Brian Fleury, who's never called plays before. So I think anyone who's saying they're not concerned about that is lying, because we don't know what he's going to be like, you know? I mean, they could say like, oh, it's the same scheme. He's going to run the same scheme as Kubiak. I get that. But at the end of the day, when it's time to make that, that nut crunching call, we'll find out what Fleury's made of, you know? It's 3rd and 2, you know, game on the line. What's he going to call? Or like Kubiak last year. You're going for 2 points against the Rams. Win or go home. Look at the call he did. It was a beautiful call. Scheme Staubert wide open. we'll see what Fleury's made of. He's going to have his
You,
moment.
you know what I'm looking forward to with Fleury is the fact that he was kind of the tight ends guy at San Francisco.
I love it.
I love the idea that this guy's going to come in and favor utilizing the tight ends, because we saw what they did with the tight ends with Kittle down there, and I always felt like our tight ends were mostly underutilized here in Seattle. Last year was great. AJ Barner really kind of came out and became a little bit more of a guy that you didn't really expect him to catch a lot of balls, but yet he had some major big time catches in the postseason and the Super Bowl, the only touchdown really offensively. And so I like the fact that if he's going to come in and get the most out of our tight ends, when we already have, the running game is, our line is set, the running game, there's a little bit of adjusting to the new players there, but our receiving core is what it is. Our quarterback is, carrying over now. I just like the idea that the tight ends can be even more involved, because I think probably my biggest not disappointment, but I had higher expectations of, you mentioned Elijah Arroyo. I feel like he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's got the potential to be that guy who didn't make much noise in his first year, and people will be like, whoa, who's this guy? And it's like, he's the guy that I thought he was going to do more in the first year. It just took him a year, So I feel like that if I were to put some prediction on that, he will come out and ball out this year. That's my hope anyway, just to counter with what AJ Barner is doing. Because, again, you look at the receiving core, and if you can make your tight end room even better, where AJ Barner, you can go double tight end sets and have two guys, and utilized in a way, I just think that's pretty cool. Because last year, remember that first game, the reason we lost to San Francisco was a lot of it, we lost because of a tight end catch that Woolen gave up the coverage to, that lost us that game. That was a tight end, a no-name tight end who caught that winning touchdown. So, we can pull a few, rabbits out of a hat with our tight ends. I think that's going to be a great thing for upgrading our already good offense. So, yeah.
I think that I felt like there was a lot of games last year where I'm like, we're just not throwing it to Barner enough, where I'm like, we're just not, and I like Barner a lot, so it's kind of like I wanted to utilize him more. So it's like, I feel like that was a guy that we should utilize more. So it's kind of, I've always wanted to throw to him more. And I think Arroyo, I'm excited about Arroyo when we drafted him, because those seam patterns, he's going to stretch the field. And I feel like with Fleury, who also used to be a linebackers coach, so he knows both angles of it, he's going to know how to exploit when teams put linebackers on us. Mina Kimes broke it down too at the Seahawks. Like, we ran a lot of two tight end sets last year, and our run game was incredible at throw it. And then on the flip side, when we do our 3 wide receiver sets, our passing game was really good. So it really was a pick your balance. For an example, when we ran our 2 tight end sets though, and a team ran nickel, our running game was almost 6 yards a carry. Whereas when we ran 2 tight end sets and then they ran base to prevent the run, they said our EPA, which is a nerd term, was 0.5. That's expected points per attempt. To get a 0.5 is a super high number. Usually 0.1, 0.2 is pretty good. 0.5 is astronomical. So when we run 2 tight end sets and teams want to play nickel on us, we're just going to run it up here, you know what? And if teams want to play base, we're going to play action you to death. So I anticipate Fleury, given his tight end background, you're going to see even more 2 tight end sets this season. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I know.
That's
we would sometimes have 3. We would sometimes on those heavies, we go 3 tight ends, and
with Sauber,
and
yeah.
it's just so yeah, a lot of options there. Not a lot of holes really. So it's a pretty good feeling going into this. I was asked today. I did an interview with a journalist who was asked, wanted to talk to me about my training camp at Hard Knocks, and we had talked for a good hour or so. Kate O'Hare is the journalist's name. She'll post this next week. But yeah, she asked me, "What's your overall feeling about the team? Is it optimistic? All that." And I said, "Yeah, I feel really good about this team going into this, because it's really not that much different from where we were. You lose a couple pieces, but for the most part, the most important part, especially the trenches, not a whole lot has changed there, and that's the most important. That's the anchor to your whole offense and your D. That the lines have got to be solid, and we've been. It's a nice place to be where you feel like your offense and defensive line are just not the thing you're worried about. You're not talking about that. We've been talking about offensive line for so long that it's nice to not be talking about it, right? It's really a kind of an afterthought. No one's really questioning or talking much about the line.
Because I remember when we drafted Jadarian Price in the first round, I had some people on my page complaining about why didn't they go offensive line? I'm like, look. Here's my deal on Bradford. I always tell people, look around the NFL. Like, you're not going to have 5 all-pros on your offensive line. You're going to have, if Bradford's your worst starting offensive lineman, you're okay. Because there's a lot of years where Anthony Bradford would have been like your second best offensive lineman. That's just the reality. Like, that's just how back then. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's a good place to be. That means the bar has been set higher now. If Anthony Bradford's the worst lineman, that's pretty good. Like you said, at one point he might have been the second best. So Ben Ellison 6232 says, "Do you know if Hard Knocks will be just about training camp, or will they do the whole season? Also, are you nervous about the running backs as I am?" So the first question is, it premieres on August 4th, which is a Tuesday. And it's 5 episodes strictly about training camp. And that's it. And then at a certain point, a halfway point through the season, they will do another team. And I don't think they've announced who they're going to focus on, but they will do the in-season Hard Knocks, and it'll be another team. I don't think it's been predetermined at this point. So yeah, it'll be 5 episodes of Seahawks behind the curtain, from basically training camp up to that first game. So it's it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Can't wait to watch this thing. It's going to be awesome. Now, are we nervous about the running backs? We talked a little bit about that already. I mean, you're always a little nervous because, when you have an entire new stable and your number 1 is gone to another team and your number 2 is injured and probably not coming back for at least the first 8 weeks maybe. So you're basically, your 2 best running backs are not going to be on the team. You're going to be a little nervous that who's going to step up? Is it a guy that we brought in from free agency? Is it going to be the running back Price that we drafted in the first round? Or is it going to be some guy who's been sitting on the bench and just never got their opportunity? And like a George Halani, will he suddenly break out and be like, holy crap, where's this guy been? Well, he was buried in the depth chart, So I don't expect that to happen. But like you said, we might be seeing a whole lot of George Halani to start. And then maybe they start to rotate these other guys. It'll be interesting how they approach this. That's why I think, like I said earlier, the preseason from a running back perspective will probably be one of the most interesting preseasons we've had, because we've never had it where we didn't have at least one guy that was kind of like the carryover from the year before. Like literally, our number 1 and 2 are both gone. One gone for good, the other one gone for at least 4 to 8 weeks, like you said. So, yeah. How can we not be nervous? A little bit. So. Yeah,
it's a little nerve-wracking. What's weird about the Seahawks, their Hard Knocks debuting on the 4th, that's going to be a big day in Seattle, too, because the MLB trade deadline's on the 3rd. So there's going to be, because I don't know if you've seen, there's a lot of rumblings about the Mariners and such. Like, there's a good chance there's going to be a player that's a key player that we've known for the last few years is going to be traded away.
I heard something. The latest thing I caught on radio was possibly Hancock trading for a right-handed bat. Like that might be one of the potential moves. They got to do something because
you can't keep this situation. And you got to. I wrote a post today about a blockbuster to be George Kirby to the Padres, and we'd be getting Mason Miller. Of course, he'd be Kirby plus prospects. I was surprised how much backlash that got, but I was like, dude, Mason Miller is the best reliever in baseball. And in October, it's all about bullpens. So, but like you said, they got to do something. They're kind of, I don't know, they almost feel like they're entitled. Like I wrote the other day, like regular season games are beneath them, and they'll make the playoffs. I hope you know what? I hope I'm wrong. I hope they have that on switch. But man, they're playing a scary game right now, and I sure hope the Seahawks, as defending champs, I can't see the Seahawks doing that. You know what I mean? Because like right now the Mariners are 52 and 53, I believe. Or maybe it's
about a game out.
Or, and they're 51 and 52. So we're 103 games into a 162 game season. So that'd be like the Seahawks around like week 11. You know, we're 5-6, and we're just like, okay, it's all well. But I can't see. That's just a different like mindset. I just can't see the Seahawks.
Well, and if you're 5-6, 2/3 of the way through the season, you're already thinking, man, I don't think we're making the playoffs.
Oh, they're
you know.
The 2015 year, we were 4-5 that year when we were 2-time conference champs, and people were like, "This team sucks. It's not good." Russ went Hollywood, and then like that's kind of when. Then remember Lynch got hurt, and then Thomas Rawls got hurt, and then we had no choice but to let Russ cook. That's when let Russ cook part 1 first happened in 2015, and he tore it up at the end of the season.
Yeah,
But yeah, you do have to wonder. I think McDonald is going to have our guys ready. I already like they said in this last mini camp, he was kind of getting on guys, you know what, chewing some people out. You know?
like you got, like focus, get energy, execution. Yeah, already demanding some performance.
I don't think McDonald's going to be the kind of guy who's going to be like Dan Wilson always says, "Oh well, that's baseball." Like he's not going to be, "Oh well," like. I just don't see McDonald being like that. So
yeah, I don't think so either.
As a person who hates like how the Mariners run things, it's gonna be refreshing to see the Seahawks again. Because I know people think I just hate every coach. I love Mike McDonald. Like you're never gonna see me write anything bad about McDonald. I might criticize some coordinators, but I'm not gonna criticize McDonald. Like, and I liked McDonald 2 years ago when a lot of people still were kind of. I'm sure you remember this. A lot of people didn't want to give him a chance because they're mad that Pete Carroll got fired, where I was kind of happy. I was like, we needed a new culture change. So when McDonald kind of came in and kind of, remember they painted over the murals and they wanted to start fresh and not live on the past. I actually applauded that. I was like, good, because I felt like we were in the Carroll era, especially at the end, we were just so kind of leaning on that 2013, even though it's like 2022, 2023. It's like, okay, when do we move forward? You know?
Yeah. And it was a little bit blown out of proportion. Yeah, he made some changes. This is mostly cosmetic. But then I was able to tour the facility after that. And they still like have this whole wall that has every player that's ever played, this whole big layout on the wall that shows, for every season. There's a little placard for every player that's ever, donned a Seahawks jersey. It's pretty cool. So it's not like they try to eliminate the history, but there's something. You come in, and of course you're going to redecorate the house a little bit when you come in, but nothing too crazy.
Well, to your point, Norm, they actually, because I guess in the Carroll era, they had just like moments from the Pete Carroll era, whereas when they painted over that and did like what you said, they honored our entire history. It wasn't just the Carroll history.
Yeah. But they're Super Bowl champs, so he's done something right in his 2 years of coaching this team, and we just want to keep going. Ben, with another question, he says, "Do you think Sam Darnold will improve or regress? He seems to have found his niche." Well,
improve.
I'll start by saying, it's interesting because I think a lot of the reason why, not only the Seahawks, but Sam Darnold too is kind of getting the disrespect, the usual kind of like they don't expect much from him this year, or maybe we were just lucky or caught lightning in a bottle last year. You get that all the time, which is why we're only 3rd or 4th likely to win the Super Bowl this year, with the Rams, of course, the odds-on favorite, number 1. But I think part of that too is there's so much recency bias when it comes particularly to Sam Darnold, because when he was released by the Vikings after he had a really terrible game against the Rams, he gets knocked out of there, and then the Seahawks pick him up after taking their team 14-3. And Sam Darnold had a good year with Seattle, but he didn't have the best Super Bowl in the world. And if he'd lit it up, and let's say he hit JSN on those 2 should have been touchdown throws, and we blow him out by 30-something points, maybe the rankings would have been different. And it's stupid to think that one game would change the entire ranking of where he stands as a whole, because one game should not change everything, but it is part of that equation. But it's the last game that they remember seeing. And I think everyone's takeaway from that game was, well, the Seahawks won because they got a great defense, but didn't really have much to say, and they had a good running game. But Sam Darnold really had not a great game. We all know that. But I think they put a lot of weight on that as his evaluation. They look back and they remember that game more than, I think, like the NFC Championship game where he played very well. And so, that's just one of those things where recency bias often is what sticks here. But yeah, I don't know. But I guess as far as him moving forward, there's no reason for me to think that he's going to regress for the sake. Why would he regress for no other reason? I mean, I feel like, maybe because a new offensive coordinator, that's a wild card. But for the most part, he's got the same line, the same receivers, plus getting some back, same tight ends. So, I guess I'm going to err on the side of optimism that because of all that, there's no reason to think that he's going to suddenly turn bad. What do you think?
I would say for Darnold, I am optimistic because he was the third pick overall in the draft, so the talent was always there. It was always about fit. And now with two different franchises, and this isn't like they were like he went to the Vikings. They were picked to only win 7 games. He went 14-3, and then you saw the Vikings without him. They fell apart. So it's not like, oh, they were just stacked and Sam happened to be there. No, he was a big part of why they went 14-3. Then he goes to Seattle, who, let's face it, we were kind of stuck in mediocrity, and we were only picked to win like 8 or 9 games, if that. Like everybody was so down on us, and then we went 14 as well. And I also think with Sam, this is also the first time in his life he gets to return to a team, gets to return as the starting quarterback, gets to return with like a JSN to throw to, and now he has a whole off season with Rashid Shaheed. Because the only one kind of knock on Sam and the offense was every week we're kind of like, God, we just can't get Sam and Shaheed on the same page. Hopefully that's different. We might finally get to see what we dreamed of, when they go trips where it's JSN, Shaheed, and Torrey Horton. We didn't get one snap of that last year, not one. So maybe that will improve. I think Sam is definitely going to be improved. I do. Now, will the team be improved? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to improve on 14-3 Super Bowl champs. But individually, I do think Sam will be better. Because keep in mind, last year, Sam led the league in turnovers. And he seemed to have solved that.
Didn't throw us not a single turnover in the postseason.
So, yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think Sam will be better. I just think he's going to be more comfortable. And here's the thing, too. Sam has confidence now. He knows that because the way Sam plays, Sam will have a bad game where he'll probably throw 3 or 4 picks. But he knows now, my team's got my back. This fan base has my back. This coach has my back. He's not going to be playing scared. Whereas I felt like last year at times he played a little scared. But, I have no knocks on the year that Darnold had last year because when he had to make the big throws, he always made the big throws. Like that Thursday night game against the Rams, to play as poorly as he played, and then to at the same time have as many highlight throws as he did after playing so poorly.
After that, yeah.
That says a lot about his mental toughness. And for all this talk about IC goes, he's mentally weak, that stuff's dead. It's dead and gone. That's not that same Darnold anymore. Like Skip Bayless always likes to call him same Darnold. No, it's not. He's improved. I know Skip wouldn't know what improvement looks like because he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, but
yeah. The hype train is always huge before the season starts and somehow always ends up in the same place. Josh Parcher says Darnold will complete more deep balls for Shaheed this year. He has minicamp to get comfortable throwing to him. I think he already has had a good connection with him from minicamp already, and now he's got the full training camp plus preseason. I believe so. And he was so close on a couple of those again, we talked about the Super Bowl, JSN missing by just a little bit. And then the Shaheed on a couple. One was just well defended by the corner, and another one just slightly overthrown. But yeah, I mean, we're talking minuscule amounts. And yeah, he's going to get some of those this year. And it's going to be fun to watch, man. I think we're just going to be, there's going to be some great moments waiting for us. Some deep balls for sure with this, speed demons are going to stretch the field like crazy. Rebecca Bell on Facebook says, I don't see Sam having 3 to 4 interception games this year. 4 is a lot. 4 was the most, right? That one nasty Rams game where we almost still won regardless. But, it could still happen, right? Things come in streaks sometimes. And, and like you said, I think every quarterback has that chance of having that one bad game. But you just want to hopefully minimize it, and hopefully the game goes against a team that's not as crucial of an opponent. Of course, in our case, it was against the Rams, and he had the 2 regular season games we played the Rams in, we had multiple interceptions by Darnold, and yet by luck and a lot of just fortuitous bounces of the ball, we ended up splitting those games and then ultimately winning the NFC Championship where he balled out. So,
he was perfect. We needed him to be perfect. He throws one pick, and even that final drive. I think that was the most important drive. We didn't score, but we had the ball on our own 6 with like over 5 minutes to go. If you go 3 and out or just get 1 first down, especially with the way that Stafford was cooking, that would have been, shoot. We had him backed up on his own 10 with 30 seconds, and he got it down the midfield like it was nothing. So it's like, Darnold to stall at the clock. And that goes back to what I was saying about Kubiak. A lot, like in the Pete Carroll era, I know it sounds like I'm picking on Pete, but like we would have ran, Russ, Bell's out, 3rd and 9. Whereas what I liked what Kubiak was doing is if we ran the ball, 2nd down, we're going to do play action. Guys wide open. Okay, 1st down. Like we did that play action to Kenneth Walker. We did another play action to JSN. We did a play action to, I think it was intended for JSN where they got the holding call.
Pass interference or, the contact or something.
But, and those were all early in the downs play actions. So,
you talk about those drives that don't amount to any scoring, but it was like the 49er last regular season game too. Same thing. We get the pick by Drake Thomas at the 3-5 yard line. And then plenty of time left on the clock. If 49ers get a stop, they have plenty of time to come down and score again. But what does Seattle do? They go down the field from their own 3 and basically set up what should have been another 3 points by Jason Myers. He just had a bad game that game. But it didn't matter because by that time, there was no clock left for the Niners to do anything. And then we ended up pressuring him, and he gets buried into the ground as he throws the last throw when that game comes to an end. And the Rams game was very similar. They just ran out of time, and it was well coached, well played, well executed on those 2 scoreless drives. So, that was, like you said, different from what we've seen before. Because, very predictable sometimes. The run, pass. Oh crap, we got a kick, and they get the ball back.
Yeah, a lot of the time in the Pete era, that's why even our defense was good back then. Our defense blew a lot of late leads in that era because our offense would just play prevent offense and the defense would just, play prevent defense. Whereas that's another thing I liked about McDonald, I noticed, is he mixes it up. Like he doesn't blitz much, but when he does, it hits. And he's not afraid to, with the game on the line, to call something exotic. And, sometimes it works, the Super Bowl was like cheating. He just blitzed every time because Drake May couldn't handle it. But there's other times where he called some good, effective plays that got home and when you needed it most. So that was. Oh,
it's a brilliant twist on that game plan because the Seahawks had hardly blitzed throughout the season. It was a very low percentage of what they did. And then in the Super Bowl, they just turned it on the complete opposite, and they didn't know what to do with it. Witherspoon was in the backfield feasting amongst other players who got in the backfield. I don't know how many times we sacked him. 7 times. It was a bunch. Ultimately, the one that cost, that was the scoring touchdown that Uchenna Nwosu scored on, and dagger in the heart, nail in the coffin on that one. But totally different from what they've been showing all year.
We had tied a Super Bowl record with 7 sacks until they went back and changed that Witherspoon Nwosu play into a pick six instead of a sack fumble. So we
I know.
6. And I feel like Witherspoon, that cost him an MVP because he had 2 sacks as is. If they had called that correctly, his stat line would have been 3 sacks and a forced fumble. I think he's winning Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he could have. You know, usually doesn't go to the defensive player, but much like in Super Bowl 48 when Malcolm Smith won it, which I thought Cam Chancellor should have gotten it, really. But, you know, Malcolm Smith was the lucky recipient of a lot of plays that allowed him to make the play. The pick six, I was pressured by the offensive line. I think Cliff Averill got his hand in Peyton Manning's face, causing that interception. He just had to pick it up and run it back. He looked very much like Uchenna Nwosu, by the way. If you watch those two plays side by side, they're like mirror images of each other. The way that they run along the same sideline, pointing to the crowd as they go in. The only thing that was missing from the Nwosu one was the half-attempted dunk on the crossbar that didn't quite match the JSN style of points, but nonetheless, it was a cool moment in Super Bowl 48. But yeah, too funny, man. 2 blowouts in our 2 Super Bowl wins, which I'm fine. I'm fine with that. So, well, let's see. Anything else you want to cover on training camp before we get to we're getting close to the end here on wrapping things up. I do have one more thing to bring up, but is there anything else we wanted to cover?
I'm good on
does most of it.
Good, yeah.
We'll have more to talk about as camp goes on, and I expect we'll be doing follow-ups each week as camp goes along, and then we get into the preseason, and there won't be a shortage of things to talk about. And then, of course, we'll have to talk about the Hard Knocks show, so it's going to be like camp, preseason, Hard Knocks. I mean, it is going to be just a buffet, super buffet of Seahawks content over the next 3-4 weeks, which is going to be awesome. 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, really. So, but I did want to bring up. You had mentioned it earlier about my film that I am working on and soon to be released. So, anyone on Facebook and had been tracking my content, I did something that I don't normally do. So, a little context. I am working on a 2025 sort of a season recap video. Like I did back in 2014, my first year of doing all season with my channel. And it's basically a look back from the start of the season, off season, to the Super Bowl, and through the NorbFam perspective. So a mix of reactions, vlogs, comedy sketches, music videos, all kind of laying out how the flow of the season went, of course, culminating in the trip to the Super Bowl and winning that sucker. So I was struggling with the title, and to be honest, I still am to a degree, because I just had all these different ideas of, taking back to what I had done before with I started originally with the View from a 12. This was my first time doing it in 2014. That was the title, View from a 12. So I thought, hey, I'll go to Super Bowl 60 of View from a 12. And I thought, well, that's not bad, but maybe there's all these cool catchphrases like, we did not care, and Dark Side, and MOB, and 12 is 1. And so I decided to kind of poll Facebook, combination of trying to get a sense of what do the viewers like, but also a little chance to kind of plug this and get some attention to it as well. And it came down to really 2. Really, 1 dominated, but there was a close second. I'm going to show it to you right now of what the feedback was. And here is the posters that I came up with, the 2 titles that really kind of stuck. So there we go. 12 is 1, and We Did Not Care. This is basically the movie poster concept, and most everybody, by a pretty majority, went with the We Did Not Care concept. But Kris, you made a kind of compelling argument that got me thinking a lot about reconsidering going with just the majority vote on this. And I'm curious for you guys, if you're watching, if any of you watching have a preference as the title for the movie. 12 is 1 versus We Did Not Care. But Kris, you made a point about it, that you felt there's a reason why you don't like We Did Not Care versus 12 is 1. And I'm curious what you could articulate that more, because we have not had a chance to talk about it. I just read your comment.
Well, I think you give off such a positive vibe, and I feel like We Did Not Care is kind of, I don't want to say negative, but aggressive, and that's not really fits yours. 12 is 1. your movie is going to be about the 12s and their experience of it. And when you think of the 12s, you are definitely one of the first people, if not the first people that comes to mind. And it's kind of like it's 12 as one. It's like, this is from your perspective, but we're all in this together. Like, I'm not going to be in this film, but I'm drawn to it because we all have our experiences of being at these playoff games. It's kind of like 12 is one. Like, just because you've been to a game with, yourself or you haven't, we're all in this together. We've all experienced this together. We're in this together. And I feel like 10 years from now, because trust me, we did not care is an all-time quote. But 5-10 years from now, people are like, we did not care. What? That doesn't make any sense. Whereas like 12 is one is just going to resonate forever. It's going to click. It's going to hit. I feel like we're, like you said, like we're all in this together. Like I've seen your videos, your perspective at games. I'm in a different section where I posted my reaction to when Darnold threw that touchdown to JSN against the 49ers. That was right in front of me. And we all have our own experiences in the crowd and the fans, and like we're all in this together. Unity, it's like it's really truly the only place in this country where you can get 60,000 plus people all agreeing and getting along at one time, because we're all in this all as one. So I would say that's my pitch. I know the majority of people, because it's the catchy thing. I get it. We did not care, and it's an awesome quote. I get it, but like, also I feel like every Seahawks documentary, book, or whatever is gonna say we did not care. Whereas 12 is one, I feel like you're gonna stand out. It's gonna be, oh, that's NorbCam. That's 12 is one. That makes sense. So to me, I feel like 12 is one fits this movie way more, in my opinion. But I'm just wondering.
Well, somebody brought up, and I listened to what you had written there, and it made me really think about it. Somebody else brought up another point, saying that Hawk Blogger had just released a book of the same title, which is not like it's something, oh my God, what an original title. I mean, it's obviously a great catchphrase, but his was, we did not care, and then the story of the 2025 Seahawks, something. But the cover, the poster that I made, I had not seen that cover of that book, but I did this, Lombardi with no real recognizable faces in it. But I looked at his book, and it's got Coach McDonald holding the trophy, which is where this picture is kind of, extracted from.
Oh, no.
So it's actually looks more like each other and I hadn't seen it. So it's not like I ripped him off. I just, obviously, I mean, it's not like his brain. It's like some kind of brain surgeon smartness to go, I know, what would be a good image? Oh, we'll show the Lombardi trophy. I mean, it's kind of, obvious, but.
Very both basic. Yeah, I get it.
But, my first poster idea was different. I actually had one of myself cheering in the stadium. And I thought, I want to make it not really so much about me, but more about, what we won, what the team won, and what we all felt like we won a part of. So changed it up after that. So, but yeah, I'm giving it definitely a lot of weight. My hope is I'm working on finishing up the teaser trailer for it, and with a plan of releasing kind of an official announcement tomorrow about when the date is, which I'll say it now. It's going to be the Saturday before our first game. So it's going to be September 5th at the Regal Cinemas at the Landing, which is where everybody goes to load the buses up to go to training camp. So everybody knows that spot. It's right next to the pro shop. So yeah, that's the theater I'm planning it on. It's a great theater. It's going to be cool. But I'm working on, I got behind the scenes, this is a fundraiser for Fans for Good, the charity that I run with Mark and Sarah, as well as for the Seahawkers, which Lori Cross, who was watching earlier, was fan of the Seahawker of the Year and is a member of, runs her own chapter. So she says, I'm taking the van, not the bus, LOL. Well, she's volunteering. I meant to bring that up earlier. You will see the Seahawker of the Year, Lori Cross, if you go to training camp on Saturday tomorrow. They have a big tent easy up at the top of the berm. So if you want to go say hi to her and check out the cool stuff that the Seahawkers have on display, stuff for the kids, and you can join the Seahawkers too if you are not a member yet. And it's very affordable. It's only a few bucks out of your pocket, and 3 or 4 lattes, and you get some cool perks if you join a chapter. So you'd look for that there as well. So she said, yes, I will be there on Saturday. Hi, Sue. So, yeah. anyway, so the film is going to benefit both Fans for Good and the Seahawkers. And so my main thing that I got to do is, besides finish the movie, I'm working on sponsors to help cover the costs of renting the theater and having the video encoded in the theater format. And then after that, everything above and beyond that is going to be split evenly for the two charity organizations. So that is the plan. It's just something as a filmmaker, there's nothing better than seeing your film on the big screen with an audience. YouTube's great. You see, oh, hey, look, 1,000 people watched it, but there's nothing that beats watching it together. It's like going to a football game and being in the stadium. It's kind of, as a filmmaker, to just be there and see people's reactions and feel, the laughter when something funny is meant to make them laugh and they actually laugh, or there's an emotional part and you see people get a little teary-eyed maybe, or, just kind of when people go through those ups and downs. And that's what's going to be about, is just reliving the ups and downs, mostly ups, but there were a few downs during the season. But that's basically what it is. But a lot of emotional ups and a lot of laughs and just a fun, good time. So I can't wait to do it. This is definitely a project, labor of love, but as a filmmaker, it's always a dream to be able to show a piece like this in a theatrical environment, because it just doesn't happen very often. But when it does, it's like the greatest thing ever. So hope you guys can come out and support it. And more information, like I said, is coming with the official announcement. Kris, I hope you're gonna be able to come up for that.
Be there, yeah. I'll probably try to bring my parents up there as well. We'll try to enjoy it. It sounds great. And like you said, the Seahawks Pro Shop, by the way, this shirt, this hat, many items you could buy at the Pro Shop. That's where I got them both. You can also bug Norb's daughter, like you said in his video.
Yes, I said in my video, Sophie's going to be working some of the training camp days. She'll be there definitely on Saturday. I think afternoon shift, so probably on your way back, when you come back from camp, you could go in there and say hi to her and give her a hard time. But yeah, it's going to be fun, man. And then, we talked about how last year we didn't know each other yet. Mm-hmm. We were at the same game, experiencing it from a different part of the stadium. But this year, we're going to watch that. We're going to watch that first game.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be together, watch the banner reveal, and just take it all in. That's what I'm planning on doing pregame. And when the game starts, last year, it's banner night's going to be weird, because I wasn't at the first banner night, so it's going to be weird that, you're going to have, in some ways, you're going to be reflecting on last year. You're going to do all that hoopla. But then when they go out for the coin toss, it's last year was last year. And it's time to... So
once the fireworks blow, the smoke clears, and the pomp and circumstance of looking back and seeing that banner revealed for the first time, hopefully we'll be kicking off, so it can just be full throat and all the excitement of it. It's going to be hard to come down from after cheering on that and then have to go, shh. It's always great to just keep screaming. And then it's new chapter. Everything's 0-0. So it's, and it's the Patriots again, so hopefully we can come out of the gates like we did in the Super Bowl. But the Patriots are going to want to spoil our party too. So a lot to consider.
Think about it. If we had the chance to play the Patriots after we lost in 2014, just think how jacked we would be, And even though it was a year later in 2016 on Sunday Night Football in their house, and that's a year where the Patriots won it. We went in their house and kind of spoiled, you know what I mean? It was like a big deal,
that was the win after the loss at Super Bowl 49.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Another crazy game where it was the roles were reversed. Same part of the end zone, and it was the Patriots at our 1 yard line, and they couldn't get it in.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I want to say they were second and goal on the 1. We stuffed them. Then they did the QB sneak, and Brady fumbled it. And I was thinking, that would have been poetic justice if he'd fumbled on the 1 to lose it.
I know.
And then they threw the play to Gronk. And then I thought, because I'm so used to them getting every call, they were going to give it to him. But Cam stood firm, and it was a good no call. It really was. And I was shocked.
I mean, there was definitely a lot of contact. There was falling over each other, but I'm glad they didn't throw that flag. And it was great to see them try. It would have been even perfect if they intercepted it. But, just to win that game on that note was, while it didn't equalize the loss of Super Bowl 49, it certainly felt good to stick it to them in their field, at least get a little bit of revenge. Lori asks, "Oh my sponsors, what's the sponsor donation amount?" So I'm gonna. This will be something that I'll put out as my release, but I'm going to have several different options of sponsor levels. And like I said, I'm hoping to get some corporate sponsors. I've got some businesses that I'm going to be talking to. And with that is going to come some perks. Besides, they're going to have some VIP seats. They're going to get their logo in the poster as well as in the film itself, like brought to you by, executive producer type of thing at the top, as well as in the end credits, and then a digital program that people can look at. And I'll make for the top tier sponsor, I'm going to give them also a 30-second commercial as part of the show. So it's got a whole bunch of perks from the top level, and then it just kind of goes down from there. So would love to get a sponsor who will do the top level, because I've got to, truth be told, my cost to put this movie on, to basically rent out the theater and have the movie encoded in the DCP format, which is what digital cinemas use to play these movies, is roughly around a little over $3,000 is the cost to rent that theater. And so I need to cover that, and then everything else above that goes, will be the charitable receipts. So that's what I'm working on. I'm hoping that some of these businesses that I'm connecting with will come through for me. That's the biggest hurdle I got. Once I get past that, then everything's just, will be benefit for charity. So we'll see. R Hawk says, Norb, do you know when the NFL can approve the new ownership group for the Seahawks? That's a really good question.
August 20th.
Say it's August something, right?
August 26th, they're going to do the meeting. That's when we'll have the vote. And at that point, so basically, not even basically, these new owners will be our owners before our first game.
This is good. You want it to happen.
I think
clean turnover.
That's why I think the 12th man flag, I'm curious how they'll do that. I wonder if they're going to have Jody.
Oh, who's going to raise it?
Or maybe have Jody and the new owners kind of as like a symbol of like changing of the guard. Maybe have our members of the 2013 team do it.
Yeah, that owner thing is a cool idea. I don't see it happening.
No, I don't
But it would be a very cool sign of unity and officially making this partnership, handoff, whatever you want to call it, kind of like we all love each other. That would be pretty cool if they did that. But yeah, and again, I don't think the Coastal is, if I get the sense of what they are, I don't think they want that. I don't think they would want to be their first impression, be in the spotlight.
How about them?
Yeah, that's kind of my perception of it. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Who will it be? Who would be the guy or the group of guys who would or gals who would be doing it? So Puma's in the house.
I was trying to get it. I opened up the door. I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Where is he? And then
I know. I was wondering with you going in and out. I was wondering what Puma was up to.
Well, he was like all the way down the street. And then all I have to do is open my door, and I just see him slowly walking in. He's just like, well, yeah, I guess I haven't eaten yet. I might as well get some more food. He's just meowing up the storm. Yeah,
I hear that. Well, that's a good thing. Again, with you being mobile, you can multitask. You can feed the cat. You can feed Puma. You can walk to the back. You can go sit down. You can have a drink. Puma!
Come on,
and you can follow Puma around. Hi, Puma. Oh, did a Puma. Does Puma ever scratch or bite you?
Not scratch. He'll kind of nibble on me sometimes. What he does, though, is he, in the morning, if he wants food, he headbutts me, but I just ignore him. But then what he'll do like this. He'll, stretch his long paw out and just kind of tap. And he just keeps doing that until I'm like, okay, I'll get up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's very high maintenance.
So Mark has a cat that's looks a lot like yours, named Wilson. Ironically enough, but he says it's not after Russell Wilson. It's named after the volleyball from Castaway. But that cat, yeah, he bites Mark. Mark showed me this big bite he had on his arm. I was like, oh my gosh.
This one will bite, but it's like gentle bites, like kind of a. But yeah, for the most part, he's just very cleany. Although, during what's weird about is at night, I can't keep him inside now because I have this cat door and I have a cat lock on it, but that freaking guy, he'll just bust through it. He's just so big now. have to get a different cat door, I think. Something.
You don't worry about him going out and something happening to him?
I'm always in the middle of the night if I wake up and don't see him. I'm like hollering for him. And then he'll always come up. I'm like, come on, get in the house, dude. I'm cold, right? I just want to go to sleep.
Because Mark is terrified. I remember the one time the cat slipped out because I was standing by the door, but it was cracked open. He ran between my legs and escaped, and Mark was freaked out. He was like, he was convinced that some critter, some coyote or something was going to eat him for dinner. Luckily, he came back like 2 hours later, but I'd never seen him so scared. So
I used to be scared of that, but I've been walking. I walked Puma around this whole area with the leash, and then I let him off the leash and walked around with him without leash. So he knows his surroundings. He knows where to go and where not to go. And I noticed he's a lot happier because he used to scratch up all my furniture when I didn't have when I just kept him inside. Where now he's pretty happy and chill now, not meowing 24/7 like he used to do before.
Yeah, I don't know any animal that likes to be cooped up inside. They want to get their outdoors time.
He's also a social creature too. It used to make me sad. Like people would be like, "Yeah, we always hear him crying when you're at work all day." I'm like, "Oh God, I feel like the worst pet owner ever." So now, but now he's popular around the neighborhood. I always hear this. Like the other day, I saw me walk. I was petting him, walking around. Is that your cat? I'm like, yeah. So he goes, oh, we thought maybe he was a stray because he always comes in our apartment wanting food. I'm like, don't feed him. I feed him plenty. That's why he's super overweight now. Just everyone stop feeding him. I've had 4 different neighbors tell me that. It's like, oh yeah, he comes in our apartment meowing, so we give him some food. I'm like Puma.
Yeah. Hey, R. Hawks commented. First, he said, hopefully Russell can raise the 12 flag someday. It'd be interesting. I hope it could happen someday. I just feel like would he be warmly received? Let's say he raised the flag since he just retired. If he raised the flag for this game, would people? How warm would the reception be? I mean, I don't think everybody would boo because everyone's going to be excited, at that point.
Yeah, I
feel
like he'd get cheered.
It still feels like there's a lot of people who are still not completely over everything that happened on his departure, but in time it's going to get there.
Norb, you got to remember though, online is different than real life. Everybody's a tough guy online. Everybody's like, F Wilson, I boo and blah, blah, blah. But when you're in that stadium and everybody's cheering, it's groupthink. You're going to be cheering too. What I mean?
It's too bad they could have. It's just too bad that he couldn't have done the jersey retirement thing. Because of a guy of what he did all those years he was here, it would have been a cool thing if they could have. The timing would have worked out better, where he could have done the old one-day retirement with your team thing.
Russell's all about media and exposure. He might do that during Hard Knocks. Don't put it.
That's true. It's not too late. It's definitely not too late. So.
I mean, if anyone would do that during Hard Knocks to have an episode be about him.
Yeah, that's true. And then he'd probably do it as I'm saying it. That would be cool. And then people would go, "Oh, look at Russ trying to steal the spotlight. What a media whore."
He is.
But I think it'd be cool.
He is.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to play to the camera. But he's smart like that. I think sometimes people just get turned off by what they feel like. Oh, I feel like I'm being manipulated here emotionally. Quick question here from R. Hawks again. He says, what do you think about our Super Bowl rings? The presentation was A+. It was so good, man. I don't think it might be the greatest presentation ever conceived. I wish I was in that room when that happened. I mean, it's just, who thought of that? It was brilliant. The fact that first of all, the rings they lowered it from the ceiling to where the guys were sitting. I mean, that's just awesome by itself. But the rings themselves, man. I mean, I'm aside from my wedding ring, which you can see, it's it's just a plain band, right? So I'm not into big jewelry. I don't have anything. I don't wear necklaces or nothing. So a ring that gaudy is like, man, that's not even a ring. That's a freaking. It's a mushroom-sized thing of diamonds and stuff. And but yeah, it was just so big, but it's cool though. The way it opens up and has a stadium inside, and then it's conscription underneath. And you take the top off, you can see the You take the top comes off, and it shows like a little miniature version of the
it's like
stadium.
You pull it up. It's like a weird. Yeah, it's cool.
It's like, man, how many compartments can you fit on one ring? It's incredible.
Speaking of which, episode 1 of Hard Knocks, they're gonna go over the off season. That's gonna be featured in episode 1. That whole ceremony. Yeah. You know what's great about that? And maybe this will add some more fire later when we play them. Every person was there but one guy. Kenneth Walker. And
that R-Hawks just brought that up. I wish K9 was able to make it. And I'm originally about you and I talked about that, and I thought somebody said that he was there, but then you kind of dug deeper and realized and found that he was not there. And that's it doesn't surprise. It surprised me when I heard he was there, and then it didn't surprise me when I found out that you confirmed that he wasn't there, because he was definitely not happy last year, and it was kind of apparent even midway through the season, just the way he was being used, and the way, and then the awkward ending at the end of the season. Even I think I brought it up before, but the trophy presentation at the stadium before the parade.
Yeah, the parade.
That awkward exchange from John Schneider, and of course he had a few beers or something, so he was definitely not probably saying exactly what he would probably say in that moment, but he made that joke. Oh yeah, I was just talking to Ken backstage about the contract extension. That was pretty weird, and K9's just sitting there like, not amused. That was awkward moment. Yeah, you just want to fast forward that. That was not good. So there was definitely some not so great feelings between the team and him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's weird because he's ours. I hope it doesn't get awkward forever, because he is a Super Bowl MVP. So at some point, like when he retires, I'm not saying he's going to be Reign of Honor or any of that, but he's going to be a guy who's going to raise the 12th man flag, He's going to be a guy that I think we're going to have good, fond memories of. Because say what you will about Walker, and whether you're a fan of his or not a fan of his, he was Super Bowl MVP. Like, that, you can never take that away from him. He's the only, think about this, we've been a franchise for 50 years. He's the only offensive player of all the offensive players we've ever had who could say he won Super Bowl MVP. We've had a lot of great offensive players in this franchise, so
that's true.
I hope it doesn't stay awkward.
Well, Lori Cross talking about the Wilson aspect of it. Lori, MVP. Speaking of MVPs, NorbFam MVP, they won't have Wilson raise the 12 flag anytime soon. I feel maybe after his 10th year, people still have a problem with him. But it took them 6 years for Thomas. Yeah, Earl Thomas's exit was definitely not great, but people now embrace him, with the hero's welcome now, and it's like they've kind of just forgotten. Time does heal a lot of wounds after a while, and eventually you're left with more of the happy memories. It's just too soon, I think, for a lot of people, as Lori is saying.
I don't know if that's, because Russ has been gone now for 5 years. His trade literally won us another Super Bowl. And like I said, when you're in that stadium, good luck booing him. Good luck, Oh, and I don't think people would boo. And it would be weird to boo during the 12 flag raising, because it's a celebratory moment. So I'm not even talking about that it's going to be apparent at that moment. But if you were to just poll people what they would do, even if they won't do it, but if you were to poll, 1,000 Seahawks fans and ask them, if you had a chance to, would you, and Russell Wilson was introduced in the stadium, would you A, cheer for him, or B, boo him? I think we would be surprised that there would still be a lot of people who don't look fondly back. What do you think the split is? Do you think 70-30, 80-20, 90-10?
Oh, and I think it's less the majority. I think more people are accepting of him now than not, but I still don't think it'd be like a super majority. I don't think it's going to be like 90-10. I think it's still going to be something more like between 60 to 70.
I think 70-30, probably. I think 70% of the people still like Russ or like whatever. I've moved on. And there's probably 30% who, again, I don't get why people are bitter towards him, because at the end of the day, I always bring this up. Without that trade, guys, this franchise, it would have faded the scene.
Well, and the thing is, Russ didn't orchestrate that trade. We were the byproduct of the trade to get those spots. But I think it's a lot of the stuff that happened prior to him being traded, about what he was trying to have happen with the organization, trying to get Pete fired, all that kind of stuff. Stuff that where people started to realize, maybe there's a lot more stuff that we don't know or can't necessarily trust what's behind the scenes as opposed to what's real.
To be fair on trying to get Pete Carroll fired, Pete Carroll got fired 2 years later. And it probably was Pete probably should have been fired. I know I'm going to upset people in this pod. He probably should have been fired much earlier. Like, the game clearly, by 2017, I wanted Pete fired. It was clear to me then that the organization under Pete was not moving forward. It was stuck in the past. And it just was not going forward.
No,
and
2017.
I write about that all the time. And I got a lot of hate, But you know me, I'm opinionated. I don't care. I'm usually going to be right at the end. But, I'll say it. But, Pete, I felt like in 2017 they should have moved on. And I don't know.
I'll agree to disagree with you on that one because, after 17 was a bad year. So it makes a lot of sense to feel like at the end of that season, maybe this is done. But then after 18, 19, 20, those were, I think all three of those seasons we had postseason berths. Granted, we didn't get anywhere past the wild card, but they were still a competitive team that, wasn't like below 500 or anything like that.
Okay. I get that, but Norb, those were also Russell Wilson's prime. Like, Russell was carrying those teams, though, because Pete's defenses were ranked in the 20s those 3 years. Like, I know, revisionist history. I'm not saying you're part of this, but I know revisionist history is, Russ was just Trent Dilfer, and they like to ignore that. It's like, no, the back half of his career, he was dragging some not-so-good teams to, 10 wins, 11 wins, and 12 wins. And I do think Pete, as a culture guy, was great. And that was my biggest fear when we did fire Pete and go on McDonald. I'm like, McDonald, he's a young coach, but we've seen this before. These young X's and O's coaches, they got all the answers. And then, their people skills are terrible. And they just crash and burn after 2 years. Adam Gase, remember him? He was supposed to be this genius head coach. Chip Kelly's another example. A genius head coach, just had no people skills. So luckily, McDonald has both. But I did felt like X's and O's wise, Pete at the end, those last 6-7 years, especially on defense, he lost his touch. I really do believe that. I really do believe he was very fortunate to have had Russ those last few years. And
I was one of those guys. I never thought of Russell Wilson as a game manager. I thought he was great, even leading him to the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe in the Super Bowl itself that they won, he wasn't great, much like Sam Darnold wasn't great in our Super Bowl that we won. Both quarterbacks really were kind of so in our Super Bowl wins. But, I never thought of Russ as a game manager. But, he did step it up after 2017. Lori Cross, I think you're trying to read her comment. Yeah, hopefully Wilson can come back. I forgave him the day after. It was business for Sierra. I mean, Russ, he still is one of my favorites. Yes, I would cheer for him. And she continues to say that I don't think our 12s will boo him. They all talk for the moment, which is what you're saying. Everyone's real brave until the person's right in front of you. And then you're like, oh, hey, Russ, love you, man. Let's see. Our Hawk says things fall in place for a reason. We wouldn't have gotten Mike McDonald if we fired Pete much earlier.
That's true, too.
Yeah. It's the whole timeline thing that, you can never say what's going to happen because if this had happened, just like I always go back and pointlessly think, what would have happened if we'd won Super Bowl 49? How things would have been different. It's fun to just sort of entertain yourself with thoughts of that and how close we were to having a completely different timeline. But, the things just kind of happened the way they happened. Hey, Puma! Puma's so cute, Puma. Alex Orozco says, go Hawks, I loved your draft video. Oh, yeah, the 24/7, 24 karat magic Bruno Mars video that I did for the draft. That was fun to work on. Yeah, man. So, a lot of interesting stuff, but I think in general, it is a really good place to be right now. And I kind of like the fact that we're being disrespected and overlooked because that's what happened last year. We were worse overlooked last year. They had us for last place and
they had us behind Arizona.
Automatic. Yeah, behind Arizona. I mean, not everyone felt that way, but everyone was at least third place, maybe fourth. I mean, they didn't give us
official betting odds. We were picked to take fourth. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just some random person. I was like Vegas, where people gamble and make money on. They had us taking fourth.
Yeah. I know. So clearly, you know, we always say, oh, Vegas seems to always get it right. Well, they were
they
way
got it
off on
wrong.
that one.
Yeah, big time.
So I'm glad to see that they were. Hawk says, Norb, have you touched on the potential Aaron Donald return? Him and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line scares me. Let's talk a little bit about the more recent developments, since you and I haven't talked in a while. What is the latest that you've seen? My understanding, the latest thing I saw was that Aaron Donald had been seen working out at the team facility. But as far as if he were to join, it's not like he would be there for opening day. At least that's what I'm hearing. Nothing is official that he's going to be on the team. But have you heard anything more definitive than that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like by the time we play them, I feel like he'll be on the roster. Now, yes,
Like we don't play them till we don't play them till like week 16, right?
Yeah.
Week 16. So yeah, that's way at the end, but yeah, probably so. We'll know what's up.
He is awesome, and this kid aged poorly, but I don't know how. I mean, he's been gone for like what 3 years now. When was his last?
He retired after they won the Super Bowl. So
that was last. Yeah, so he's been out of the game for 4 seasons. Then
4 years,
3, 4. Yeah, that's 4 years without playing.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What does that mean? Obviously, you know, you can be in the gym and look impressive in your workout videos and all that stuff, but it's a whole other thing of being NFL speed, right? I mean, that's a big thing. Be out of the NFL for 4 years and come back. You know, we've seen some guys do it. What's that?
I mean, I guess Deion Sanders kind of did it, but even when he did it, he came back. He was just like a nickel corner for the Ravens. But he's still pretty good, though. I'll give him that. But, yeah. I think primetime, though, I think he was only out of the game, though, for like a year or two. I don't know. And, like, Marshawn Lynch, when he came and played for us, that was his first year of retirement. So it wasn't like he was out for 4 years. So, I mean.
Was his last year was 23? I thought his last year was when they won the Super Bowl. I thought he retired after they won the Super Bowl, didn't he?
No, I don't think so. No, I was gonna say 2023 until you said Super Bowl.
Because the 23 Super Bowl, I remember that one. That was the Chiefs 49ers in Vegas, because I actually went to that one. Was he playing? I thought my memory was that he retired after he won the Super Bowl.
No, they made the playoffs that year. He was on the 23 team, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was one more year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, still 3. So yeah, 4, 5, 6. I guess this would be his third year.
He's been out of the football for 2 years. So yeah.
So he did 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not long enough.
No, I know. He still gives me nightmares.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. But I mean, all the conversation's been about what the Rams have done.
Well, it's all been about them.
All their moves and everything, grabbing all the headlines. So, you know, let them have it. Let them have all that stuff, because just more pressure on them. If it doesn't pay off, they're in big trouble, because they gave up all that stuff to make that happen.
Well, they're counting on Stafford to continue. And granted, Tom Brady didn't get old until he's 45. But I will say this about quarterbacks is there is no gradual. It's just all of a sudden 1 year they're cooked. You know, like Tom Brady's second MVP in 2021, and then 2022 he's not good. Peyton Manning setting the touchdown record in 2013. He's awesome in 2014. 2015.
Yeah, he couldn't barely throw the ball. Even though they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what's weird. So it's like these guys, Brett Favre, he was awesome for the Vikings in 2009. 2010, he was cooked. And you're seeing it recently with Aaron Rodgers. Like, Rodgers won the MVP in 2021, and then we saw Aaron Rodgers in 2024, just a shell of who he was. You know, so I'm hoping that's the case with Stafford. Because if Stafford is not MVP, I don't think they're as good as roster as us.
Yeah.
Might.
I mean, the D line, if they get the two of those, will be something. But for the rest of it, pound for pound, if you spread it out roster by roster, yeah. I mean, it really looks like they did everything to try to figure out how to beat us. I think they're still scratching ahead at the end of the year and going, how did we not win the Super Bowl? How did we not get to the Super Bowl? How did we lose that?
Well,
we can't let that happen, especially since it's going to be in our house this year. It's almost like we got to make sure Seattle doesn't play in the Super Bowl in our house because that would be really embarrassing. So you feel like that's what they're out for. Our Hawk says, this sounds crazy. I wish the Seahawks would somehow trade for Jared Verse and Jared Verse can get back at the Rams. Haha.
Like Ernest Jones.
Yeah. But Jared Verse, I don't know what deal he's got now, but he's going to be in Cleveland for a while.
Yeah, remember, they drafted Jared Verse because we drafted Byron Murphy. If you remember right. And that was the draft where McVay was caught in the draft room saying to his GM, let's move up to get Murphy. And Les Snead's like, no, I'm not giving up that third round pick. He'll be there for us. And then the next pick, we take him. And you could hear McVay in the background yell, just like yells like the F word. He was just so mad. Although he probably wasn't as bad as he was when they drafted Ty Simpson this year, but he's pretty close.
He looked really beside himself on that one. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, he had to walk it back 2 days later and pretend like, oh, it wasn't because of them.
Yeah, we're fine. No, I wasn't upset. It was fine. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Dude, like, you were ticked beyond belief.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a funny move. When you think about everything they've done since then, everything is about win now. And that move was such a head scratcher. That is definitely not a win now move.
No,
they didn't.
And actually, that move makes even less sense since the Myles Garrett trade. Because, like, you're pushing your chips in. Why are you buying insurance?
Yeah.
You
got a first round. You got a pretty good first. You can get anybody in the first round. And you get backup quarterback.
I'm afraid they're going to take that Oregon tight end who was like, he could stretch the field. Like, I thought for sure they're going to take Sadiq, I think's his name. And I was like, oh, God, if they get him, they're going to be so tough to cover. Or I thought they're going to take the receiver from USC, Malachi Flynn. I was just like, either way, I was just like, it can't happen, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, he was mad. Liar, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, McVay had to play some PR, grease everything smoothly. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. We're good.
I didn't realize what a whiny little B word he is until this year. You know what I mean? Like,
well, desperation can kind of make you act a little bit a certain way.
I mean, the guys still, and to this day, they're still crying about that two-point conversion. Like, I'm kind of glad they are, though, because it's just like, you know what? Like, I'm happy because that means they haven't moved on.
That means we live in their head rent-free.
Well, because, dude, we saw it firsthand with the Seahawks with the way we lost to New England. Like, we did not move on from that interception, and it crumbled. Like, we've talked about this many times on our pods. It crumbled those teams. Those teams had a Super Bowl championship left in them. And they just would not let that play go. Sherman, especially, did not let that play go. So, yeah.
Yeah,
so
tell them like it is, Kris. It's Laurie. It's the difference though there is that what happened with the Rams, you can't like point this finger like, oh, there was a play that we messed up on that cost us the game, right? It was unlike Super Bowl 49 where everybody goes, oh, why did you do that? Why did you do that one play? And they want to blame the one person because it comes down to that one play. The defining play that ended the Rams' chance of beating us was that fourth down play where they really, McVay, and I think it was kind of confirmed that we sort of screwed up, or DeMarcus Lawrence.
The fortuitous bust.
Yeah, was not supposed to be there. But because he didn't rush and he dropped back, probably saved the season.
But like DeMarcus Lawrence said, though, he said that's a veteran move on his part because he knows they had to tell. Because every time that running back sprints, like he did, like he says, well, if he doesn't block, they run that same wheel route, which they ran earlier and got us on. So DeMarcus Lawrence, being the smart player that he is, like, noticed that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, it was a great play for him to really outsmarted the coaches. He kind of took matters in his own hands, and it kind of paid off because I think that running back would have been open. So
I didn't even notice.
But what's that?
Oh, I locked up my back deck, and I look back there, and I see Puma's just like meowing and scratching. Like, oh shoot, he was like sleep. I don't know. He's being all quiet on my back porch, and I have him all locked up, and there's nowhere else to go. And I was like, oh shoot. I looked over there and I saw him. All right, now he's back in.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was just like, all of a sudden I look over there, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, here's a good question by our Hawks as we're going to wrap things up pretty soon here.
Okay.
But good question. This is not a hypothetical. This is going to be the game right after ours when we play the Patriots. Norb, you have to answer, and Kris, you have to too. Who are you rooting for in Week 1, Rams versus 49ers? I think a no-brainer. I gotta go with the 49ers because the Rams are the team to watch. We want the Rams to implode, right? Because they're the team that we're most threatened by, are we not? With all the attention and all the weaponry that they're getting, we want the perceived top dog in the division to take their lumps and fall early. At least that's what I'm going for because I'm not as worried about the 49ers as I am the Rams. So I'm going to be rooting for the 49ers.
I'm not going to say I'm rooting for the 49ers, but I'm rooting for the Rams to lose.
Okay.
Put it that way. And for all the reasons
semantics, but I'll go with that.
For all the reasons that you said, it's I think after all this hype, blah, 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 if they lose Week 1, especially if we win the day before, it'll be very fun online because everybody will be killing the Rams. 2, I think that, the Rams losing, like you said, I feel like Mike McDonald, he has Brock Purdy figured out. We clearly can't say that about Matthew Stafford. So,
right.
We want the Rams to,
Yeah.
I feel like moving forward, these based off of this year and even last year, once we made the Ernest Jones trade, our defense, we keep, even their one win against us, Purdy, they only scored 17 points. That's because Woolen horribly misplayed a ball. So it's
two balls.
Yeah, you're right.
On that same drive.
Yeah.
He gave up the long one that put them in scoring range, and he gave up the ball that should have been intercepted. That became a touchdown. But yeah. I think we're on the same page.
If he especially that play by Purdy, that game-winning touchdown, they're down by 3 and he heaves it up there. I'm gonna be real. Like when he did that, I cheered because I thought he threw the game-winning pick.
Yeah.
And then Woolen's standing right there and lets the guy catch it. And I'm kind of like,
come right in front of him. Yeah, he didn't attack the ball. He waited for it to come to him, and allowed the tight end to just step up. I'll take that.
The last 2 games against Purdy, we ate him up. They didn't even score a touchdown. Think about that. 8 quarters where everyone's talking about, because remember, this is revisionist history. I want to remind everybody the history of this. So in December, the 49ers are putting up video game numbers. Chris Collinsworth, the week before we played them, literally goes, I think Brock Purdy, that's a guy who looks like Joe Montana right now. I'm just going to say it right now. He's playing like Joe Montana. That's a guy. And then guess what? We hold them to 3 points. And then, okay, well, they're injured. No, they go into Philadelphia against Vic Fangio, who's this defensive genius, and they scored 25 points. So they weren't hurt that game. And then they play us, and then we kept hearing, well, this week's different. Now we got Trent Williams back. We got Jennings back. Blah, blah, blah. Like that was a fluke. And then, they did score more against us than they did the last time. They scored a whopping 6 points, which is still less than the opening kickoff touchdown.
Yep.
So it's 8 quarters, not 1 touchdown against Mike McDonald's defense. I don't want to hear about that.
And that's
so
why they brought Mike McDonald in for that very reason, because that's what he did. That's what he did against them when he was with the Ravens. He was brought in to shut down the 49ers and the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the 49ers definitely shut down. The Rams, a tough beast to tame, but they're getting there. We're getting there.
You know what's weird? The stat I saw weird about McDonald, and this is. And the game for the 2 games where his defense shut down Stafford, we lost both because our quarterbacks had bad turnovers. Remember, Geno had the 2 red zone picks, Sam had 4 picks. Yeah. Then the other games where the Rams just light us up like a Christmas tree, he's won every single game. It makes no sense. Where they all, it's just kind of crazy when you think about it like that.
Well, it just goes to show how those turnovers are just brutal. The Geno one, man, oh god, that game is, talk about a game giving away a game that you should have won. That interception that was a pick 6.
You made a
one, and
actually, you know what's funny, Norb? I that's why I brought that game up, because I have you on my YouTube feed and the algorithm. Once in a while, it'll show me like old videos you made from past games, and like, oh, let's see what Norb. And it was like that game. I thought you were actually like, no.
It's terrible. I mean, I still think about it. It'll never be as bad. Nothing will be as bad as Super Bowl 49. But as a regular season divisional game, that's about as horrible a way to lose as you could possibly have.
Then we tied it up.
We came back and tied the game and made a whole new game.
Third and 1 and 4th and 1, we can't get a yard, and then they walk us off on a bomb. And ironically, it's almost like the same play the next year, but luckily we got another chance at it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We had the chance to come back and then eventually won on the 2-point conversion.
It was the same end zones, too. It was crazy. Both
you're right.
Stafford long touchdown passes were like nearly identical, nearly same spot, going into the same end zone. Again,
you know what would be an interesting stat is how many interceptions happen more often, going that direction or going this direction? Because I feel like going to the right, there's a lot of crappy plays. Super Bowl 49, that Rams play, I guess the 49ers one with the one was going the other direction, but it'd be interesting. I'm sure somebody's got some stats on that, see if there's any truth to any of that. But
one field goals too. Remember, that's where Hauschka against Arizona.
And the missed field goal in the 6-6 game in Arizona.
The 6-6 game where Hauschka had basically it was an extra point, missed the field goal, same exact end zone.
Yeah, that's just a bad place. Seymour Hawkins on Facebook. Rams going to enjoy their first loss. Stanford, I think I say Stafford. Stanford and their offense going down. Go Hawks. Well, one can only hope, right? I mean, that'd be great. If Seahawks can get a win and the Rams lose, we're right away a game up on them in the division. I'll take that. Mike McDonald on the road as a head coach is 18-2. That's insane.
Pretty good. Yeah, his 2 losses were the Monday night in Detroit, when Detroit was really good, and then the Rams game. And both games are pretty competitive, and both losses were very excusable too. They're like, oh, okay, it wasn't like I hate to say it, a Pete Carroll special where it's like, oh, we lost to a team that you had zero business of losing to. Which I thought last year's Colts game was looking like it. I that's what, what's funny is that was the game where I'm like, we're going all the way, was the stupid Colts game. Because I'm like, years pass, we lose that stupid game and cost ourselves home field. Because that Colts game just,
so close, man.
Just did not have a good feel.
Yeah, it is. Like, come on, this is freaking Philip Old Man Rivers. We cannot stop him. Can I get a sack on him? But one, and it wasn't even a real sack. It was like a sort of put a hand on him and he tripped over his own legs.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, he fell down, right? That was our only sack.
He's fallen and he can't get up, kind of thing. So. Anyway, luckily that went our way, but man, that was one of those games that could have easily gone one way or the other.
Oh, I mean,
Tyler Parks is asking, can we open up the phone line? We'll have to do a call-in show on the next one. We had too much to catch up on in this one. We're already 2 hours and 20 minutes into this sucker. We're approaching Titanic level here, but not quite the Odyssey. We're not quite to that length yet, but
Have you seen that yet? I haven't seen it yet.
No, I want to go see it. I'm debating whether to see it in a regular digital IMAX or go to the Cinerama downtown Seattle is playing it not in the true IMAX 70 millimeter, but they're playing it on 70 millimeter film because we don't actually have a theater in the Pacific Northwest area that plays the true IMAX format that he shot it in. There's only a handful of theaters around the country, and you have to go either to California, South, or Midwest, or East to do it. But I'm tempted, given the fact that it's such a unique movie shot on film.
I heard it's like, yeah, the visuals are amazing. That's, you know what's weird? The story itself, I'm like whatever on, but I love Christopher Nolan. His stuff is just so awesome. Yeah, I just can't. That's a movie.
He doesn't make bad movies. He's a great director, and he's the only one who could command I want to shoot this on film in a really difficult camera that's really noisy that you have to build this gigantic house around. And when we do the editing, we're going to do it the hard old school way where you literally have to take the negative, cut it, and tape it together one shot at a time. It's
he's the best.
Only Christopher Nolan can get away with that, but he's earned it.
He's the best. Like you said, I think it's debatable if he's ever had a bad movie because Tenet was. I didn't bother watching that one because I heard it's so confusing. But people like Tenet too.
I was just talking to somebody about that movie because we were talking about the Christopher Nolan movies recently, and I saw that in the theater. It was one of the few movies that were being released during the COVID time when that came out, and it was super confusing. I need to watch it again because it was so hard to follow compared to Inception, which was already kind of deep. It's like Matrix to like the third or fourth level, but this one was just on a whole nother. You got to like your brain is just like, wait a second. So this is going backwards, but forward. What?
I heard it in that.
Yeah, but I want to see it again because I felt like it. I want to see what I missed the first time around because it was such a complicated one. Lori says, "All right, you two. Once again, great show. Hope to see you on Saturday. I will see you, Lori, on Saturday." And Norb, I'll see you on August 18th for sure. I will also be at training camp on August 1st and 13th. Good night, everyone. Go Hawks. Thanks, Lori. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support always. And yeah, I'll see you on. And everybody go pay her a visit at the Seahawkers tent on at training camp. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Does she sit near you? Does she sit near you for the football games, or does she work at the stadium?
No, I think she has her own chapter, which was chapter of the year. She won Seahawk of the year and she won chapter of the year, East Plateau. And she basically, her group hosts viewing parties for all the games. So, yeah, she's usually, with her crew.
Oh, so she's not
on game days.
Then. So I was saying I'd love to meet her for the first game, but.
Yeah. I'll have to figure out another way. Maybe at the movie. Hopefully.
Sure.
So
I would assume Lori
if she can come.
Be
I hope she'll be there. But hoping a lot of people will be able to come, fill that sucker up. So yeah, a lot of work to do between now and then, but I'm excited to do it. This little teaser trailer, which I'm hoping to put out tomorrow, is kind of cool. So 1 minute.
Are you gonna follow up a part?
Yeah, Lori said I do watch I have to do watch parties for every game, so she is not in the stadium.
Oh, okay.
So
is that road games too? Then maybe we can go up there and maybe do.
Yeah. Road games for sure, and the home game. So yeah, that is an option. We can get more details on that. So
all right.
We're gonna have all kinds of reasons for you to come up this way, Chris, to make the hour and a half drive from where you live.
More? Hour and a half drive.
2 hour 45.
Easily 2. Yeah.
How far are you from what's it called? Battleground. Battleground?
Well, so where I work at in the center.
Uh-oh. We were free of internet freeze-ups until now. Chris, I've lost. Houston, we have a problem. Lori says, I will be there for you, Norb. Thank you, Lori. I know you always are, so thank you so much. Seahawk of the Year and Chapter of the Year. Well, I might have lost Chris for the show. And she'll be there for Chris, too. But, well, this might just be the sign that says, your time is up. I might have lost Chris for the night, so... Well, I think we were pretty much done. So I will just kind of assume that he is out of the picture. And, oh, great, he froze. You're invited to come to our annual picnic. So there's another event. Oh, Chris is gone. All right, well, I think we're wrapping it up. That's a sign from above that it's time to wrap this show up. So anyway, I'm NorbCam. That was Kris, UW Doghouse on Facebook. Go check out his articles. He writes great articles about the Mariners and other sports teams. Of course, he will be writing about the Seahawks when the season kicks in. Great writer. So check him out. I have the link in the description. UW Doghouse. But anyway, glad you guys could watch. Appreciate you guys who stuck in the whole time. Wait a minute, is he coming back? Is he coming? He's coming back for a curtain call. I was about to sign off. Like, here he is. You're back. You're back. You made it. We didn't lose you forever.
My phone just popped up. It's like overheated because
Oh,
battery's running low.
your phone was telling you, dude, that's enough. I'm out. Are you on your laptop then right now?
No, I changed it and went to my bedroom and went.
Oh, okay. So they kind of chilled.
I cooled it down. Yeah. So basically, what happened was, it said overheated because this drains your battery. So I had one of those battery.
That's true.
packs.
Yeah, when you're streaming like that for a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
Plus.
So I had the battery pack to give it some juice, but the battery pack is full metal. And you guys saw me. It was on the back deck the whole time, so the sun was beating on it. So yeah, I got the whole temperature. So there you go. So
yeah, well, you might have missed the part where Lori said, "Hey, come to our annual picnic." When is the picnic, Lori? Just so Kris could see it, and everybody else can see it too.
And I'm all like, battleground.
That's the 18th, right? That was the 18th. I think that's what you were talking about. Oh, I just wanted Kris to hear that.
So on the 18th. Okay, well that's a weekday, so that might be more difficult. But yeah, all right.
I know it does have to work. Is it? Is it on a weekday?
I looked it up. 18th. Yeah, I just looked it up on my calendar.
All right. Well,
we'll see.
We'll figure out something.
We'll make it up.
Yeah, Tyler. Unfortunately I don't have the MJ musical queued up, so I can't show Kris. I had all these videos from my trip to New York, including the MJ musical, Michael Jackson musical, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Our family did, and you weren't allowed to shoot video. No phones allowed, no taking pictures. But at the end, when it was like the curtain call and it was a wrap up, everyone got their phones out. They figured out, well, if they're gonna kick me out now, the show's over anyway. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll shoot it too. So I got the very end of the show, their encore of "You Want to Be Starting Something." It was great show, good acting. The actors didn't exactly look like him, but they could dance like him. They sounded like him. So if you can kind of just get your brain to think, okay, imagine this Michael, imagine that's Michael. He sounds like Michael. He talks like Michael. He dances like Michael. He just doesn't look so much like him. But it was a good show. So anyway, Kris, anything else you want to talk about? Anything coming up? Any articles that you're working on that people might find interesting? I did shout you out while you were disconnected.
Just stay tuned, guys. The Mariners trade deadline is 1 week from this following, not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be some, either way, we're either going to be acquiring players or, God forbid, trading key pieces away because we're selling. That will be determined this weekend in Texas. It's a huge series if we're going to be buyers or sellers. And then Seahawks season's coming up. Husky football season's coming up. So you'll see on my page, you'll start seeing more not just baseball dominated stuff for those who hate baseball, like Lori Cross.
Like Lori.
Yeah, like Lori. You'll be getting more football content with the Seahawks and with the Huskies. And yeah, I'll be writing a lot, basically.
It's funny because we call this podcast the Barking Dogs podcast, but we've spoken so little about the Huskies. But that's going to change. That's going to change come September. It's just kind of like that's how it is. So,
anyway, they're the Apple Cup the day after your premiere.
So weird.
That's
Sunday.
why you're doing it on Saturday.
Exactly. Yeah, I almost was thinking about doing it on Sunday. You're the one who told me, "Oh, you don't want to do it Sunday. You got the Apple Cup." Like, oh crap, I don't want to do that. It's a tricky weekend because it's also Labor Day weekend. Somebody brought that up too. It's like, oh, that's true. But you know what? There's really no other great weekend to do it because there's games, Seahawks games on every other weekend, pretty much, and then we get the break, and then the season starts.
It's the last weekend before the Seahawks start their season, so I think it's perfect.
It is. Right. That's why I kind of had to land on that one. Plus, it gave me the most time to get this film done. I needed as much time as possible once I finally decided to do it. So, all right. Well, that is my partner, Kris Shellenbarger of UW Doghouse. We'll be doing this again, especially now things are ramping up. But go check out his articles on Facebook. And yeah, plenty of stuff to do. But yeah, it's great catching up with you, Kris.
Nice to catch up with you, Norb. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, you too, man. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll talk to you guys all next time. Go Hawks.
Who let the